When I was a young warthog. Sleez, you there? I know you got a thunderstorm going on. Are we live? Is this thing on? Guys, Sleez can hardly hear me. He can hardly see me. He can hardly.
We're
here. He's here. He's trying to tough it out, and we're going to give all we got because that's all we got. We don't know what we're doing, but we're here and we're giving it all we got. All right, guys. That's what we're doing, and yeah, we're live right now simultaneously on both YouTube and on Twitter. So if you guys are tuning in, thank you guys for tuning in. Really do appreciate you guys. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy the show. We're going to go over every single game, top to bottom, as much as we possibly can. We're going to talk to you guys about our favorite start sits. We're going to talk to you guys about our favorite props, pick 'em props. Guys, we're really bullish on, and guys, we're ready to fade. But before all that, we'll see if my co-host can hear me here. Sleazeball, please introduce yourself.
You sound like an alien, but I'm here.
Please introduce yourself to the folks and let them know who you are, where you're from, what you're doing, as long as you fucking love me.
Sleazeball, Fresno, California, the location. My mind is a weapon, fantasy football. We are having a thunderstorm, mad winds right now. Connection is all over the place, but I'm here to grind it out. Ready for the show, ready for the pick'ems. Playoffs are here. Let's get it going. What's up, Miss Disco? What's up, Teddy? I see you in there. Are you having bad connection, Teddy? I know you're down the street from me. I don't have any service. What's up, Bink? Let's get it rolling.
Playoffs. Shout out to Bing King first. Let's freaking go. Indeed. Fortnite to football, LFG. I wish I was playing Fortnite, but I was just focusing on the research and the football. And then Kobe and the Cattle Dog. Shout out to you, Boo Boo. She's going into Niagara Falls on Monday, so I'm going to be wifeless for like 5 days. Pretty devastating. Tyson Sand says Tracy, Ramondre, or McCormick in full PPR. I mean, if we're talking about what happened last week, we saw Charbonnet absolutely go nuclear against the Arizona Cardinals defense, both in the air and on the ground. If any game is going to be the Ramondre Stevenson game, it's got to be this. I think he's got the best matchup out of all three names that you mentioned there. Steve, who do you think?
I like Ramondre here.
Yeah, I'm leaning Ramondre here. I think he's got the safest floor and the highest ceiling, and I kind of like that combination. But once again, we're going based off of the analysis and the numbers. We could be wrong, but it is a perfect answer.
Charbonnet destroyed him last week.
Yeah. Sup, guys? What's up, Ben King? Good to see you, brother. All right, you ready? Game one. So we got the Baltimore Ravens, who are 16-point favorites coming into New York. The over/under is 42.5. We'll start with you. Is there anything that you love about this game in terms of start sits? Anything you love about this game in terms of pick'ems? Like, do we think that this game is going to be an absolute blowout and we're going to see Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, and co sit on the sidelines for the second half? Or how do we feel like the game script's going to play out here?
I feel like it's a tough game to judge here because you got a 16.5 spread, which is one of the worst we've seen in probably, I don't know, a couple years here.
It's definitely the biggest one we've seen all year, for sure.
Which scares me for Lamar Jackson's passing yards, scares me for Zay Flowers, scares me for Mark Andrews. I mean, Derrick Henry is obviously King Henry must start here. But is he really going to get 100 yards? Is he going to play the whole game? That's another scare of mine as well. The only really thing I like is Justin Tucker's kicking points because I think he's going to smash so many kicking points through. It's going to be ridiculous.
All right. So can I say that I know that it's a very advantageous matchup on the ground for the Baltimore Ravens running backs. It's safe to say, right? One of the most advantageous matchups there. 102.5 rushing yards is very doable for Derrick Henry. He can get it in 2 snaps. Realistically, we could see like a 6 snaps, 650-yard rushing performance, and 6 touchdowns from Derrick Henry against this Giants run defense. But if we're looking at the low-hanging fruit here, 16.5 rushing yards for Justice Hill, even though he's been getting the vast majority of the second back reps. If it's very doable for Henry to get 102.5, would you like the Justice Hill rushing yards, or would you avoid that?
I've thought about it. I mean, 16.5 seems free for him, but I don't really want to bet on it. I mean, it's a nice call for sure. I also like Tracy's receiving yards because I don't think he's going to do anything on the ground.
Why?
Well,
so
the Ravens,
his receiving yards is 19.5 receiving yards. His longest reception is 9.5. Why do you like it?
Because I don't think he's going to do much rushing. The Ravens are number 2 against the run, and they give up about 21 yards receiving a game, so it's not really an outlier. But I think Tommy DeVito is going to target him heavy in this game because their running game is going to be shut down to the max.
Speaking of Tommy DeVito, 177.5 passing yards.
Seems free.
Seems free, right? Obviously, the situation is terrible, and Harbaugh coming off of a bye, he's usually absolutely incredible. This game is one of those games where it's like you got to start your studs, you got to play your studs because like even Neighbors is super startable. Zay Flowers should be startable. He should play, and you should definitely play Zay Flowers. I like his longest reception here, but once again, the game script is too volatile, so I don't necessarily love any props. I like Isaiah Likely's receiving yards props because Bateman's still relatively banged up, even though he's good to go. I like Mark Andrews to find the end zone. Obviously, I like Derrick Henry for an anytime touchdown. Do you have a pick for an anytime touchdown here other than Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry's anytime touchdown is like 0.55 on UD. That's automatic score for Henry in this game.
Yeah.
I would say if there's anyone, I mean,
for me, it's Likely or Andrews, and I think the receiving yards for Zay Flowers, he could do it like realistically in one play because Giants do give up chunk plays to the wide receiver one, but the game script is too volatile. So I'm not willing to really bet on anybody here. Like the 7.5 kicker points, do I anticipate the Ravens are going to score 8 touchdowns? They could, but like it's such an ugly game that I don't want to touch it. I don't want to bet on it.
I think that's one of my favorite locks of the week is Tucker's kicker points. He just had a bad game. They just talked about, he's our guy. I think he's going to crush that.
Have you seen his interviews? This past week, I think it was on Monday, he was interviewed. Dude looks like he was, on a Aaron Rodgers trip, just absolutely like eyes wide open, fully bearded, not clean shaved, like he hasn't been singing any opera or anything like whatsoever. Very, very like he looks rough. He looks like he's in bad shape for sure. All right, so you like. I'm not gonna bet on Justin Tucker. Respectfully,
I can't even pull up the charts. So I mean, okay. I have to use my Illustrator charts over here. Hang on, maybe this will pop up.
Okay, Anthony Richardson or Kyler Murray. I'm leaning Kyler Murray because it's a plus matchup, both on the ground and in the air, against the New England Patriots. I think Anthony Richardson's rushing upside is there, but when we're comparing two quarterbacks with good rushing upside, I'm leaning Kyler Murray because he has that passing upside is the differential between the two for sure for me. What about you, Sleez?
I like them both. I like Anthony Richardson for 20 points in this game too, especially with Josh Downs back. Like you said, he's included that team, and Tennessee's kind of falling apart. But I'd go Kyler. I like the matchup versus New England a lot.
Okay, good.
But you are going to have Chris Gonzalez, and Marvin Harrison's been tough. So it's all Trey McBride for me. He scores this week. Has to.
Heard. I do love Trey McBride in that game, and I'm looking forward to talking about that game for sure. Just 1 second.
Yeah, my Illustrator doesn't pull up. It's rough living over here, but I'm with it.
Dang, looks like we're not even live on X right now, which is super hella weird. But I'm okay with it. I'm here for it. All right. Ready for the next game?
Fire away.
All right. We got the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 5-point favorites, versus the Tennessee Titans. Over under is 46.5. We do have a revenge game narrative here. We got Callahan and we got Tyler Boyd coming back to Cincinnati. How do we think this game's going to fare out? How do you think this game's going to play out? What do you like in this game? What do you dislike?
I think it's a blowout, big time. Chase Brown has just been an electric fantasy football player. This guy's got 20 points, and I think the 5 out of his last 6 games. I'm kind of worried about Tony Pollard with a little injury here. I don't know how much they're going to use him. He didn't practice, Wednesday, Thursday, practice Friday. I really like Calvin Ridley's receptions. I like Calvin Ridley to see at least, another 10 to 12 targets like last week because the Bengals defense is just terrible versus the pass. Joe Burrow's thrown for 300 yards in 4 straight games, so I really like his 276. He is running and gunning. Will Levis passing yards looks enticing, but he popped his shoulder, so I don't really know if I want to bet on that.
I don't like him with a full shoulder, let alone a half a shoulder.
And then you're Jamar Chase longest. This guy's a god, dude. He's 80 points ahead of every other wide receiver in fantasy football. He's out of his mind. I would take that every single week. And I kind of like Westbrook-Akine here. I think his 35 yards is low in this game. They're gonna have to pass a lot here, I feel like.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got the numbers charts up here right now. So I want to say where I find the advantages for sure is obviously both running backs. If you're looking at the last 2 weeks, Cincinnati's been the third most advantageous matchup, giving up just over 30 fantasy points. Same with Tennessee, just over 30 fantasy points opposing running backs. The last 4 weeks, the last month, Cincinnati's been giving up 27.83 fantasy points. That's the fifth most advantageous matchup, and it's still a relatively advantageous matchup for Chase Brown at 21.78. And then if we're looking at on the season, both of them haven't been giving up a lot of fantasy points, and they're not top 15. But over the last month, there's definitely an advantage there for running backs. I will say where the standout matchup shows up here is, I think Chase Brown has touchdown equity. He has receiving yards equity, and I think that Tony Pollard has rushing yards equity and receiving yards equity and reception equity, but no touchdown equity.
I don't know if I trust Pollard this week.
It's tough to trust him because you never want to really play injured players, but it's one of the better. It's one of the better matchups in football. I think his floor PPR format is about 12 to 14 fantasy points, and that's without him finding the end zone. And I think with a damaged Will Levis, it's very likely. I don't like the fact that there's no prop for Tyler Boyd in the Tyler. Oh, there is a prop: 24.5 receiving yards, 14.5 longest reception. Is there anything that you like there? Because I personally like it.
Yeah, I do.
Well, it's not just the revenge game narrative that I do like. The only thing holding me back once again is the injury to
Will
Levis, right? But if we're looking at where the opportunity lies, it lies between the slots and it lies between the tight ends. Chigo Conk was somebody I don't trust. I'm not going to trust. I can't trust. The narrative doesn't benefit him, but it's a very advantageous matchup for him. One of the more advantageous matchups on the week for any position, right? But when we're talking about Tyler Boyd, he kind of fills that like slot role. It really just comes down to his usage. And I'll be honest, I'm going to pull it up right now because
he's covered it in 3 out of the past 4 games, and he's got a revenge game. I really like the 24 yards. I do.
Okay. His usage, week 12, 57% snaps, 38 snaps total. Week 13, 85% total snaps, 47 snaps, 59% snaps. Week 14, 38 snaps. Like, it's super doable, right? The revenge game narrative. I like it. Am I willing to bet on it? Not in this card. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take your. Do you like the field goals more for Justin Tucker or the kicker points?
Kicker points.
All right, so let me just pull up this camera angle here.
I had a free ticket, so I took Neighbors over the yards, Tucker over the kicker points, and Tracy over receiving yards.
Okay, well, we're just going to build a new one here. So Chase Brown, we said we like his rushing yards.
I do. A lot. I like Tony Pollard too, but
I'm still taking the Tony Pollard rushing yards because I'm going to build an 8-piece here and I'm going to safety it.
Okay.
Calvin Ridley has a great matchup, like we alluded to, but it's Will Levis, right? And there's a lot of work that needs to go for him to get either the 4.5 receptions or the.
I think the receptions is a lock.
Yeah, I'm not betting on it. Jamar Chase, the receiving yards is there. The longest reception is also there, and we know on a weekly basis he could smash all of those. But I don't think he needs to in this matchup. I think
I don't like it either. Yep.
Right. So T. Higgins as well. Tyler Boyd. It's kind of one of those like really risky bets where it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. I like the 2.5 receptions. I like the longest reception. I like the receiving yards. Do I love it? No. Is it an outlier? It's more of an outlier for Chigo Konkwu. And once again, if Will Levis has a damaged shoulder, I'm not willing to bet on him. So I'm just betting on the running backs in this game. I mean, kicker points, it's totally doable, but with an injured quarterback, it's super volatile and it's up in the air. I will say another standout prop is the rushing yards for Joe Burrow, but they don't have the prop available because Tennessee over the last month has given up a lot of production.
What about Levis with a banged up shoulder? More rushing?
Well, I mean, like, I think they protect him a little bit more with a banged up shoulder and don't make him take unnecessary hits.
That too.
So, which means that Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears are both going to get more utilization in the backfield. So, yeah, I'm willing to move on to the next game. Before that, let's catch up with the chat.
Are you dropping a bet on the running backs only?
No, I'm building an A piece. But
I'm
if you want to drop a bet on the running backs only, by all means, go for it. I also like Tony Pollard's receiving yards a lot more than I like his rushing yards, but his rushing yards just seem safe because what's his face? Levis is hurt, right? And I don't trust any of the throwing props. All right, Mr. Magic says Keenan, Devonta, or D Hop rest of season. I'm not going to answer rest of season. These guys are all flyer kind of plays. Keenan Allen has an advantageous matchup. If you look at what the wide receiver 2 and 3 does against the Minnesota Vikings, they get a lot of volume. They get a lot.
Keenan Allen definitely has the best schedule the rest of the way.
Well, for sure, but like,
how much is going to play being old is the question.
I mean, like, would you play Keenan Allen like without looking at Philadelphia's rest of season schedule or Kansas City's rest of season schedule?
Yeah, like, I don't like the way Philly's passing the ball. Jalen Hurts hasn't thrown over 30 attempts for 200 yards.
I will say though, last time they played Pittsburgh, he was kind of on a passing yard slump. In 2022, he threw for 4 touchdowns, 285 passing yards. I think AJ Brown had something ridiculous like 2 or 3 receiving touchdowns and 160 receiving. So yeah, the hot take this week, I'm very high on the Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown stack. I'm high on it every single week. But yeah, I would say this week I'm leaning Keenan Allen because his matchup's the best out of all of them. D Hop, it would be nice if he was the wide receiver 2 because the wide receiver 1 usually doesn't do too great against the Cleveland Browns. It's usually the wide receiver 2. So I like Xavier Worthy a heck of a lot. I even like him for an anytime touchdown. I may have a small.
But hang on. Xavier Worthy is the wide receiver 1 in snaps for the Chiefs now. DeAndre Hopkins only playing 50%.
So wide receiver 1 in snaps, yes. But when we're talking about coverage, when both players are out there, D-Hop draws the number 1 cover corner on a frequent basis. Now, unless Cleveland's going to do some self scouting and put Ward on Xavier Worthy and make him travel with Xavier Worthy, it's not necessarily going to really pan out, right? When D-Hop's on the field, D-Hop gets the number 1 look. So, yeah. Are
we going to see Hollywood Brown?
I don't know.
Yesterday?
I don't know. I don't know. That would be interesting. Are we going to see David Njoku? Looks like he's
trying to fight to play. I saw that, yeah.
Well, like I jumped the gun and I played Demarcus Robinson and swapped David Njoku out, and Demarcus Robinson gave me a big old 0. But I mean, so did Cooper Kupp, so it is what it is. Start 2, Brown. Which Brown, sir? Neighbors and Mooney. Please, Mr. Magic, please elaborate on which Brown, and I'll gladly answer that. All right, are we ready to move on to the next game? So I got these 3 props queued up. You good for the next game?
I have an absolute lock for this game.
Okay, but before that, what do you like in terms of betting for the Baltimore Ravens and New York Giants game? Do you like the over, the under? Obviously, we're not betting the money line because you're not getting plus money. Or do you like
Ravens taking the 16.5?
Yeah, okay. I respect it. I respect it a heck of a lot. And then the Titans game, do you like Tennessee to cover the spread at minus 5.0? Nope, or do you like the over under?
Bengals money line.
Okay, Bengals. I would go with the over. I like the over, and I also like the Bengals to cover the spread. I don't anticipate there's going to be a lot of touchdown equity from the Tennessee.
Tennessee plays tough at home, man. They do.
It's you might be right. All right, next game. There's this game. When I first looked at it, it's so ugly, but there's so much that I fucking love about this game when it comes to props and pick'ems. Like I really got giddy and excited when I just did the numbers and the number crunching on this game. So we got the Dallas Cowboys, who are finally, who are 2.5 dogs. Carolina Panthers are finally a favorite for the first time in the Bryce Young era. So something to celebrate. Very, very biblical milestone in the Bryce Young era in our lifetime here. The over-under is 43.0. Kickoff is at 1 p.m. Eastern time in Carolina. So you're chomping at the bit here, buddy. And I love when you get giddy and excited about these games. So tell me, what do you like?
My number 1 lock of the week. This is my favorite bet of the week, comes from this game, and it is Bryce Young's rushing yards at 16.5. This is a major outlier. The Dallas Cowboys have given up 155 rushing yards to the QB over the past 4 weeks, which is a major 40 to 45 yards per game here. And when they come off the edge with Micah Parsons, you know he's going to be looking to run up the middle, getting pressured a lot. It's one of my favorite locks there is.
I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. So I'll tell you what I like. All right. And we'll catch up with the chat first.
Oh, I like a lot more than that, but that's just my lock.
AJ Brown. It's AJ Brown for me. You're never going to bench AJ Brown, buddy. I'm never benching AJ Brown. PPR Tracy Jr. or TJ Hawkinson. I'm playing TJ Hawkinson, bro. I'm avoiding Tracy. I mean, even like against the Saints and who else did they play the last couple of weeks?
He struggled.
He's gone under 40 yards. Yes, he's had the receptions equity, but I think Hawkinson has a smash play this week. So yeah, I don't hate your call on. Pretty much, there's not a single Bryce Young prop that I hate the over on. I love the over on his passing yards. I love the over on his rushing yards. I love the over on his passing and rushing yards. Interceptions, not so much. Cooper Rush, I like the under on his passing yards. Here's the thing, right? When you play the Carolina Panthers, you don't have to pass the ball a heck of a lot because the run defense,
run them all over. Yeah,
run defense is so bad, right? Now, here's an outlier prop that I absolutely love, that I absolutely adore. If we're looking at the opportunities for Chuba Hubbard in particular, I think he's going to find the end zone because the opportunity is just going to be there, right? But where I really like him is his receptions and his receiving yards props. I just got to pull it up somewhere. There it is. Okay. So currently, here, let me put us here.
Cowboys
Currently,
45 a game.
His receiving yards are at 15.5 receiving yards, 9.5 for longest receptions. So when we're talking about the equity for running backs, still got to find it. If we look at the last 2 weeks, the Dallas Cowboys have given up 105 total receiving yards, which is just over 52.5 receiving yards, which is the fifth most advantageous matchups for running backs. If we're looking at the last 4 weeks, they've given up 173, and if we're looking, which is the fifth most advantageous in the last 4 weeks. If we're looking at the entire season, they've given up 526, which is the seventh most advantageous across the board. Across the board, the average is well over 48 receiving yards per game on a weekly basis. If you're factoring last 2 weeks, if you're looking across the board, when you try to find an outlier, you want to find something that's definitive, something that is as free of a lock as humanly possible. This, my friends, including the rushing yards for Rico Dowdle, are definitive locks. So I'm going with the receiving yards here and over the 82.5 rushing yards for Rico Dowdle, because when you're looking at everybody knows you can run the ball against Carolina. The last 2 weeks, they've given up 378 rushing yards, most advantageous. Last month, they've given up 463 rushing yards, fourth most advantageous. And on the season, 1,802 rushing yards, which is the first most advantageous. Well over 113 rushing yards in every aspect there. Rico Dowdle's been running like a madman. Absolutely love the rushing yards prop here for Rico Dowdle as well. And then last but not least, I really do like Adam Thielen here.
Yep,
because the Cowboys are so if we're talking about fantasy points in general, the Cowboys give up 40.5 in the last 2 weeks, which is the seventh most advantageous to opposing wide receivers. If we're talking about the last month, they've given up 38.33. If we're looking at the usage, he's been used like Bryce Young has been focusing him and targeting him at an absurd rate, which is good to see. And he's been fresh because obviously he's been injured and out for a little bit. But if we're talking about receptions, Dallas gives up the most receptions in the last 2 weeks. They've given up the most receptions in the last month to opposing wide receivers, and the eighth most receptions on the season to opposing wide receivers. And the receiving yards there is like, if there was a receptions prop, I would say that's an absolute smash. But the receiving yards at 51.5 also feel like it's low-hanging fruit. I really do like that. So let me just scroll up here and get the other locks that I do like here. We said over rushing yards for both backs.
Oh, we're doing a build. Okay.
Yeah, because I had to refresh it because
I might have to as well. But yeah. So rushing for Pollard, rushing for Chase,
Justin Tucker as well. And then last but not least, I do like CeeDee Lamb's longest reception. And I also like him for an anytime touchdown because if we're talking about red zone opportunities, that's where people really take advantage of Carolina. It's either there or the low hanging fruit of Jake Ferguson at 16.5 longest reception. I love his longest reception prop because no team has given up more fantasy points in production to opposing tight ends. And I also like Jake Ferguson for an anytime touchdown. My favorite anytime touchdown prop in this game is Chuba Hubbard, and I got a significant chunk here. Who do you like for an anytime touchdown in this game?
A lot. I think it's gonna be a higher scoring game than people think. I mean, Rico Dowdle's got to be my lock for anytime touchdown.
No, Rico Dowdle rushing yards has gone offline. Try that again.
What's the other one? So I have Thielen, Dowdle, Chuba, Chase Brown, Tony Pollard.
Your Justin Tucker pick. I don't love it, but I'm here for it.
CeeDee Lamb's longest.
Did you take Justin Tucker?
I got it on there. I got Tucker, Lamb longest, Pollard rush.
I didn't touch. You said kicker points or field goals for Tucker?
Kicker.
All right. Hold on. I got to rebuild it. I had to refresh.
I might have to. Yeah, I do too. Fuck Jesus. All right.
I know.
So it's starting from the top.
It just got rid of the entire Carolina slate.
Did it really?
Yeah.
It did. Wow. As we're going on it. All right.
Drafters is watching for sure. They know we're fucking cooking today. They know we're absolutely fucking cooking today. But I have it in the back of my mind. I do love Ferguson a heck of a lot.
I do too.
Let's catch up with Ferguson's a top 5 tight end for me this week, and I know hasn't been spectacular since coming off of his injury, but the opportunity is there. We saw Grant Caltera, which was my anytime touchdown call last week.
That was nice.
I know, thank you. We saw him find the end zone pretty much every game. There's a receiving touchdown to opposing tight ends because they finally stack the box when you get into the red zone, and they give up the most red zone targets to tight ends on a weekly basis. Thanks, fellas. One more question. PPR, 1 wide receiver and 1 flex. Ladd, Myers, Flowers, Rachaad White, Ramondre. So Rachaad White without Bucky Irving is a 100% must start. If Bucky Irving does play, I still am leaning Rachaad White as your flex.
Bucky practice. I think he's playing.
I'm still leaning Rachaad White as your flex here. And then if we're looking at Ladd McConkey, he has a decent matchup against a team that gives up the 6th most fantasy production to wide receivers pretty much across the board last 2 weeks, last month. And then Jacoby Myers has a great matchup, an excellent matchup. But the only issue with Jacoby Myers is the quarterback's terrible. Zay Flowers has one of the better matchups in football, but we think he's going to get game scripted out. It's one of those situations where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If it's not Ladd McConkey, if he's not good to go, I'm playing Zay Flowers because I just don't trust Desmond Ridder there. And then my flex is Rachaad White, even though I do like Ramondre this week. You got good problems, Chris, and good luck this week, my friend. Any disagreements there, Sleez?
I agree.
Yeah. Dom asks, shout out to the worst sports channel, actually one of the best sports channel. Make sure you guys go subscribe. Jack Lucene is absolutely brilliant, not just in his interview process and his style, but his fantasy football insight and his betting insight. One of my favorite humans, one of the best people out there. Shout out to Jack Lucene. He says Thielen, DK, DJ Moore, BTJ, start 2. Thielen, I'm hooked on a Thielen. I really do like him. I think he has a very safe floor and a very high ceiling this week. And if we're looking at DK Metcalf, okay, the wide receiver 2, who I think we can all agree DK Metcalf is now the wide receiver 2 in Seattle. The wide receiver 2 goes absolutely nuclear on a weekly basis against Green Bay over the last month. So I'm going to go DK and Thielen here. DJ Moore has a great matchup and a great opportunity, but he is the wide receiver 1 there. So I like Roma Dunze and Keenan Allen a little bit more because Minnesota also gives up a heck of a lot of production to the wide receiver. And BTJ, I love him. I think he's great. His floor has been safe, even though Mac Jones has been the one throwing in the football. But I mean, no Evan Ingram, pretty much no help, nothing. So, it's one of those things where it could either be a 16 fantasy point, floor or 0.
It becomes the focal point. Yep.
So I'd rather have DK here, especially in like your fantasy playoffs. The matchups click there; it makes sense. Do you disagree? Start 2 out of those names.
I would go DK and DJ Moore.
DK and DJ Moore over Adam Thielen. Man.
DJ Moore absolutely shredded Minnesota 3 weeks ago, and I love they give up too much passing yards.
Am I higher than most people on Adam Thielen this week?
No, he's got Thielens close start. He's got a great matchup. He's been balling. I mean, 100 yards back-to-back games. You can't ignore that.
I have him as wide receiver 12 on the week. I think
I just like DJ Moore's ceiling way more than I like Thielens.
Should they sit K9 till playoffs? I mean, if they sit K9 till playoffs and he's somebody that's significant, they might miss the fucking playoffs. Let's be real. Los Angeles looks good. They're pulling out wins offensively, defensively, like we just saw on Thursday Night Football. Like with cup, without cup, 2 girls, 1 cup, don't matter. They're pulling out the victories. I think they're going to win that. I know. I think they're going to win that division. I love them to win that division. And it's Zach Charbonnet week because there's just way too many opportunities for Zach Charbonnet, both on the ground and receiving. So if he's healthy, he's healthy. If he's not, he's not. But I still like Zach Charbonnet to absolutely smash. Is Brees going to play right now? So when you look at the fantasy pros, are they going to play Tool? He's at 39% likelihood, so leaning to not play him. And I really do like Braylon Allen in his matchup. And I know I like Braylon Allen a heck of a lot last week.
They already said Brees Hall is expected to play.
He's expected to play?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, I got to put him in community first. Let's go. Thank you for the breaking news there. Okay, looks like Brees Hall is going to play. Thank you, Magic, for the questions. Thank you, Sleez, for the. It looks like the thunderstorm there has died down. What's good? Clutch Game 09 says, "What's good, fellas?" And Bucky is down. Is Bucky out?
Bucky practiced today. Looks like he's good to go. Okay, but it's not official. But yeah, whenever you practice, you're pretty much.
Clutch Games. Is there any confirmation that Bucky is down? Because I've just been here, grinding away at the research. I haven't really looked at breaking news. Javonte or Algier. I mean, Javonte has a tremendous matchup, but it could be him, could be Estime, it could be Jaleel McLaughlin, like we saw the last time they played in Week 13.
I like
I mean, I like it. You have a 33% chance of being right with Javonte, right? You do. Algier, it's an okay matchup for them. I think they're going to need to run the ball a heck of a lot, but there's a lot of air probability against the Raiders. For the gnarly start and who to start with DK, Waddle, PPR. I would play both Waddle and DK.
I'm trying to get them both in. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I would play both Waddle and DK, and we'll talk about why we like both of them. Is this a flex question for your running backs there, or is that like you need one of the running backs? Because if you need one of the running backs, Javonte is the ceiling play, Algier is the floor play. So however you
peanut butter jelly. Huh? So what's up, peanut butter jelly?
Oh, PBJ, yo, fellas, what's up, PBJ? Good to see you. Brees practiced full yesterday. Heard. I'm so excited.
Do we trust Brees as a start with the Jets?
I'm not sitting him. I'm not sitting him against Jacksonville. I'm not.
I know it's
I'm not sitting him.
Bold, but it's kind of risky.
Can't do it. All right. Anything else you like about the Cowboys Carolina game? Who's winning the game? Carolina over under?
I'm taking the Cowboys to win. My number one call of the game, I'm going to make a bold call, is the Cowboys defense gets a touchdown.
Wow, that's absolutely insane. So I love Chuba as my favorite anytime touchdown prop. I also like CeeDee Lamb to find the end zone. I also like Jake Ferguson to find the end zone. And I love Thielen to go over 125 receiving yards for 2 receiving touchdowns. That's my call. I like the over in this game. I like Carolina to cover the spread. All right, next game. We got Kansas City Chiefs, who are 4-point favorites coming into Cleveland. The over-under is 43.5. This game is so.
I love this game.
You do?
I love this game.
It's so fucking gross. I generally.
Shootout. I thought we were talking next on drafters. Okay, it was Miami Texans. Okay, we're going Kansas City. Okay.
Well, no, it's got to be Kansas City and Cleveland because next on if they pulled out the Cleveland thing. Yeah, no, it's still Kansas City and Cleveland. Drafters probably just refreshed it and took out that game. All right, so we got the Chiefs, the Browns, over-under is 43.5. Tell me what you like about this game. Tell me what you don't like about this game.
Oh man, if Njoku was out there, this is your smash matchup if he's out there playing. I know he's hopeful to play. One thing, if I'm looking at this game, I do think they give up a rushing touchdown every game, so I love Pacheco. And the Cleveland Browns have been just hemorrhaging wide receiver points in the past couple of weeks here. And I know, man, it's always tough for me with Xavier Worthy, but You know, you love him. He could boom in this game big time, especially that the wide receiver one gets locked up like DeAndre Hopkins. I would say that I like his 36.5 receiving yards more than I like his longest because he's starting to get a little floor. And I like Mahomes' passing yards in this at 241.
Yeah,
Well.
I'm not touching Mahomes passing yards. There's no way that's an outlier for me whatsoever. I respect your take, of course, but I'm not betting on that personally. I don't like it at all. If we're looking at if we're looking at passing yards right here, last 2 weeks, Kansas City's given up over 270 passing yards. Last month, they've given up over.
They have given a ton. But why don't you like Mahomes passing?
So let's look at what Cleveland's given up. Last 2 weeks, they've given up 452. They've given up 970 in the last 4 weeks on the season. So well under 220 passing yards on a weekly basis if we're factoring all those. 241.5 is very, very rich. It's going to be dink and dunk productions with a couple of chunk plays. If we're looking at pass attempts against Cleveland, you don't have to throw the ball a heck of a lot when it comes to volume. So I actually prefer under the 23.5 completions. Where Cleveland's susceptible, as we alluded to earlier, is their wide receiver 2. Once again, not volume, but chunk plays. They have brain farts every now and then, and they give up significant yardage.
I'm going to change that. It is terrible weather in this game, too. 30-mile-an-hour winds. So, yeah, why didn't I look at that first? No, I don't like the passing yards in this game.
I think that's a lesson we should have learned after Thursday, because we love the over on everything, and then we're like, oh fuck, it's raining.
Now you see that? Now I'm starting to look at the weather in the game.
I love that for you. I love that. So I'll tell you what I like this game.
There's Dan. What's up, Dan?
Dan, are you ready to come in? I'll send you the link right now, buddy. Weather is terrible. All right. Well, just makes me a little bit more bullish on Isaiah Pacheco. I like Isaiah Pacheco for an anytime touchdown in this game. He's my favorite across the board for an anytime touchdown, unless David Njoku plays. Then David Njoku will be my second favorite. I still like the longest reception at 18.5, longest reception for Xavier Worthy, just because if anybody can cut through the weather, it's Josh Allen and it's Patrick Mahomes. I like that opportunity. I'm going to read the numbers. I'm going to stack the numbers. I'm going to attack the numbers. And then Travis Kelce, 5.5 receptions is well in the range of possibilities. I haven't projected for 7, but it's not too much of an outlier for me. And Harrison Butker is back. So if he's available on your waiver wire, pick him up, because if any game's the game for him to kick 3 or 4 field goals in this weather game, I mean, I'm fucking start. I like Harrison Butker for 3 or 4 field goals this week. Other than that, Jerry Jeudy, I know he's been absolutely electric. He's been getting either like 11 or 6 targets every outing since Jameis Winston has been, the starting quarterback. But thanks to Pat Fitzmaurice, who put out a spectacular tweet, the one area Jerry Jeudy struggles in is against press coverage, and no team press covers more than the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm not touching Jerry Jeudy. I'm still going to play him in a couple of DFS slates, and if he's on your team, he's a great flex option / wide receiver too. But the weather, the Pat Fitzmaurice tweet, all that has me not bullish on Jerry Jeudy this week as I have been in the past. All right, who do you like to win that game?
Kansas City.
Okay. Do you like the over or under?
I like the under and the Kansas City to cover. I don't think the Browns are going to keep up if Joker's not out there.
I mean, we haven't really talked about the Isaiah Pacheco rushing yards at 60.5. I think
I love that. I
think it's super doable. I don't think it's an outlier. I don't want to really bet on that. I do want to bet on the Isaiah Pacheco anytime touchdown. What about 38.5 rushing yards for?
I'm not touching that piece of shit, Nick Chubb. No,
he's not a piece of shit. He's coming off of like a catastrophic injury.
Yeah,
right? You got to give him grace. He deserves grace. D Hop, I'm not touching. What about Elijah Moore?
With hearing the weather updates, I don't want to trust. I don't even know what Brown I'd like to bet on in this game.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't know why you love this game. All right, let's talk about a game we both love, because I'm very, very high on a lot.
Wait, if you had to take one Brown, what would you take?
One Brown?
Yeah.
Not Winston.
I know.
I would say Nick Chubb. I think there's touchdown equity there based off of the numbers and projections.
38.5? I guess
rushing yard.
That's his only prop.
Yeah, well. I mean, like I said, I didn't know you were referring to fantasy. Okay, so let's talk about the running backs advantageous matchup here. So Kansas City's given up 173 rushing yards in the last 2 weeks. If you average that out, he's well over 38.5. Over the last 4 weeks, 287. If you average that out, still over 38.5. On the season, 760. If you average that out.
But he's only played 30% snaps in the past 2 weeks.
I know. So, but I would still say that's the only prop I like. If I'm going to take one prop that I absolutely love for Cleveland, fuck. Like if they had
it's terrible, right? I don't like one.
Well, the longest reception for Woods is enticing. The longest reception for Jerry Jeudy. No, I'm not touching it. There's not a lot of reception equity against the Chiefs for running backs. And that's the only avenue where I would even consider him if there's reception equity. 24.5 longest reception for Jerry Jeudy is fucking criminal. Like we're giving him the Jamar Chase treatment right now, and he doesn't deserve it. If there was a prop for over 0.5 interceptions for James
Winston, I'd fire that up. Yeah,
I would smash that. I mean, like the over in passing yards, I'm never going to bet on the under for sure. But there's not a single prop where I'm like, this is a clear outlier. I absolutely love it, and
That's what I wanted to hear. I don't like any of them.
And the entire game script changes with David Njoku because then it's a game. I don't care what the weather is. Then it's a game. Yes, weather is important. Yes, it's a significant factor. But when you have a talent like David Njoku and a guy who's not afraid to throw the fucking football like James Winston, that spells for seriousness. Okay, let's catch up with the chat. Just got to push this down. And thank you guys all for tuning in. We are exclusively on YouTube. Don't know why, but I'm here for it. Smash the sub if you're not subscribed. Ask a question if you want to. What up, Teddy? Good to see you, sir. Jerry, easy. JK, I'm just biased. Need him to go off. I don't blame you. My one prop would be starting Browns. The starting Browns tight end yardage. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, but even Jordan Akins, I wouldn't bet the over if David Njoku's out. I really wouldn't. Mercy says, "Sup? What's up, buddy? Good to see you, broski." We got let's go. Next game. Okay, you're excited about this game, so am I. We got the Miami Dolphins, who are 3-point dogs coming into Houston against the Houston Texans. The over/under is 46.5, which is way too low for me, in my opinion, here. And Houston is now rested coming off the bye week. Did you want to start this one, or should I?
Fire away. I'll go second on this one.
Okay, because Drafters doesn't have the fucking props up for this one. We're just going to cook the cards at the end. I think that's the best bet. Cook the cards at the end.
Props up for this game. You want to lead it off here?
I probably had to refresh there. So, okay, my number one lock on the entire week is over 12.5 longest reception for Joe Mixon. My number two lock on the entire week is over 21.5 receiving yards for Joe Mixon. If there was a receptions prop, that would be number 3. And number 4 is Joe Mixon anytime touchdown. He is my RB1 on the week. There's so much upside here for Joe Mixon. If we're talking about production, Miami gives up a lot of production when it comes to receptions to opposing running backs, to give up a lot of touchdown equity, a lot of red zone touches, a lot of goal-to-goal touches. It's advantageous across the board for Joe Mixon here. Right now, his rushing yards is at 78.5. So I think Vegas did a really good job there with him. But other than that, I like Tua's passing. 272.5 passing yards seems like a heck of a lot, but it's super doable against this Houston defense. But I'm not betting on the over. I'll tell you why I'm not betting on the over. Because Houston gives up significant chunk plays, but they don't give up significant volume, and Tua's been killing people with volume, not significant chunk plays. So when I'm looking at how this game's going to play out, when I talk about the game script, I love Jalen Waddle for a longest reception at 21.5. I think that's free money. I love Tank Dell for a longest reception at 20.5 or even over 3.5 receptions, because the one weakness that the Miami Dolphins has that's not against giving up receptions to running backs is they give up a lot of receptions to the tight ends or the slot backs. If we're looking at any game for Tank Dell to bounce back, and yes, I know he had a bye, but I think Tank Dell will bounce back here with volume every Tank Dell prop, I absolutely love the over. I think Tank Dell is a sneaky smash play this week. And last week, I called Amari Cooper to go nuclear. I called Juan Jennings to go nuclear. I am calling right now Tank Dell to go absolutely fucking nuclear in his matchup against the Miami Dolphins because that's their week. That's their weakness. It's either going to be him or Dalton Schultz, and I'm never
Dalton Schultz.
never betting on Dalton Schultz. Can't do it, won't do it. That's where the advantages are leading me to. I'm not perfect. I do fuck up some calls, but I do hit some major fucking calls because I give a perfect effort and I follow the numbers and I fucking give the research. All right. So Tank Dell is my fucking nuclear call. I love him in this matchup. I love Tyreek Hill. I really do like Jonnu Smith's receiving yards in this game, and I usually don't like Jonnu Smith at all. But yeah, other than that, those are my favorite props. We got the Joe Mixon over his longest reception or receiving yards. I prefer the longest reception now that I'm looking at it. I love the over longest reception and receiving yards for Jalen Waddle. I love the over 3.5 receptions for Tank Dell. And I would consider the Jonnu Smith 45.5 receiving yards, but I don't love it.
The Texans are good versus tight end. I'm staying away from his props.
Well, I mean, like if you're looking at the last, so on the season, Texans great against the tight end, right? But last
4 weeks they've been 16 points. There's a bye in there too, so it's really even worse. So it's about 80 yards a game there.
So if we're talking about the last outing, they've given up 8 receptions to tight end. If we're talking about their last outing, they gave up 55 receiving yards to a tight end. Last 4 weeks, they've given up 234.5 receiving yards. They've given up 20 receptions. Divide that by 3. You got well over, 50, 60 receiving yards there, right? So I think it's an outlier. I think it's an opportunity. What it comes down to is how many times do we trust to drop back and throw the ball? And, yes, he's been electric, but he hasn't gone against a defense that's going to get after him the way that this Houston defense is going to get after him, especially coming off of a bye week. And I feel the same way about CJ Stroud. I think both of these quarterback numbers, the only thing that's scary is the game script, and both pass rushes are really, really good. And both quarterbacks have terrible offensive lines. These are both quarterbacks. Yeah, these are both quarterbacks.
Perron's out for this game, too. Armstead out at left tackle. That's going to hurt him.
Yeah, so let's catch up with the chat before you go. Houston's D-line on paper should eat Miami's O-line on paper, and they will do it in the game too, right? As I said, it's the teams that can buy a little bit of time to take advantage of the front plays where Houston's secondary loses their discipline. It's not going to happen a lot, but when it does happen, it usually goes to wide receiver 2. That's why I'm really bullish on Jalen Waddle's longest reception. But I mean, I think it could go to Tyreek Hill as well. But when we're talking about it, it's like you're looking at less than 1.5 seconds of time for Tua to throw the ball against one of the better front sevens on paper, like Peanut Butter Jelly here alluded to. NFL DFS Pick says, your Cooper call was incredible. He had 14 targets. Sometimes we all do is predict opportunity in the business. And I love Cooper Cup even more this week than I did. Not Cooper Cup. Fuck Cooper Cup. I love Amari Cooper even more this week against. I'm just playing the totals game there too, for sure. Shout out to you, Dan. Dan, just let me know. I'll send you the link, buddy. Glad to have you on. We fucking miss you here. King of Smack, new to the channel. Just subscribe to your channel, 100. Hey, man, appreciate you. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Feel free to ask a question, whatever you want, man. Welcome to the community. Welcome to Disco Ball Nation, man. Glad to have you here. Sleez, what do you like about this game?
So the outlier that Disco usually doesn't miss these, man. This is an outlier that I really, really like for this game here is CJ Stroud's 260.5 passing yards. In the past 3 weeks, Miami is averaging 303. No, never mind. So 1,117. So they're giving up almost about 290 a game here. You're about a 30-point outlier?
No.
Or not?
No.
1,200?
Just do 1,200 divided by 4.
That's 300. Oh, yeah, I looked at it wrong. Okay, hang on. Let me pull this up. Let me see. 1,117. 280. So it's about a 20-yard difference. So I like the 260 passing yards a ton here. Miami's been good versus the run. So it's a 20-yard over difference here. So I know CJ Stroud coming out the bye. It's been rough. He's had a
But
bad
okay,
season.
so let me do some pushback. And guys, when Sleaze and I go back and forth, you guys need to know that there's nobody in this industry I respect more than Sleazeball, and that's why he's my co-host, and that's why he's on all my shit, and that's why I endorse him, and why he's one of my favorite people, because we're capable of going back and forth and doing pushbacks. At the end of the day, it's all love, it's all respect. So when I do ask him to stand on business, I'm going to ask him to stand on business, okay? And when I say stand on business, we got to pull this screen up. It's tough to do all this simultaneously. We got to pull this up. We got to pull this up.
Hold up. What did you just say? I'm going to need you to stand on business.
You said Miami has been good against the running backs. Who are the last 4 running backs that they've played?
Sorry, I did not mean the running backs. I did not mean
Okay.
the running backs. That is not good. That is not good. They've been getting crushed by the running backs.
But who are the last 4 running backs that they've played?
So they played the New York Jets with their split game, which was, Isaiah Davis even found the end zone. So you can look at that as, rough there. But I'm looking at CJ Stroud, though. I'm not thinking about the running backs. I just said the running backs and completely missed what I was saying there. That was wrong.
Like the game script changes, Sleaze, when you're looking at the running backs, because Joe Mixon's a different fucking breed of running back than they've played in the last.
He's going to get a full workload.
Script is going to give him a full workload, because if you have a bad pass blocking offensive line like the Houston Texans do, you're not going to throw the ball successfully a heck of a lot. But with that being said, it's super doable, because this game, I think, can absolutely
shootout.
I think it could blow the total. But like, it really comes down to, is Houston's line capable of protecting CJ Stroud coming off of the bye? I know we haven't seen it. Maybe they've had another week to get healthy. And
the Dolphins don't get much pressure on the quarterback either way. Since Phillips has been out, Bradley Chubb's still on the pup. They don't have any pass rushers.
You might be doing an excellent job in swinging me. Let's be real. You might be doing a very, very good job in swinging me. It's not an outlier for me, but your process is fucking perfect. King of Smack says, so I have a question. How we feel about Thielen this week? I love him. I'm over the moon about him. He's my wide receiver 12. I wonder if Ramsey is out. He left the last game with a minor injury. Good call. Something I must have overlooked. This may be a big Tank Dell game. The numbers are pointing towards it. What's the prop for Will Anderson sacks? He should be coming off the right side against a weak left tackle. I'm still not liking the over on the sack because of how fast Tua gets rid of the fucking football there. They do a good job scheming. Dolphins not good against the slot. Dolphins are terrible against the slot. We already called Tank Dell nuclear game.
All right, are you ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
The Miami Dolphins are ranked 32nd on quarterback sacks on the season.
Okay, fuck, you might be swaying me, man. You might be swaying me. So would you like the over 260.5 passing yards or the over 1.5 passing touchdowns?
The yards. I think this is going to be a 300 passing game here.
Okay, so I like the passing touchdowns more, but I respect the yards call. Miami last 2 weeks has given up 3 total passing touchdowns, so that's 1.5. Last 4 weeks, 6 passing touchdowns. Like, something's got to give, right? It really, like, the last month, they've been giving up almost 2 passing touchdowns per game, if not. And they haven't faced the most electric, passing offenses. Like, they let Aaron Rodgers go for 300, right? Which is insane, and over 3 passing. So, like, I like the passing touchdowns. I feel like that's a safer bet, especially if, Joe Mixon's going to give them that steady dose of the run/receiving game. And then
How about this? CJ Stroud has hit his passing props in all 6 of 6 home games this year. Also.
Oh, fuck you. Look at you cooking, man. You are fucking bringing your A game here. Thunderstorm or not, internet firing up or not. I like that. I'm swayed, man. I'm swayed. I like both props. But yeah, please keep cooking.
The other one is Devon Achane's receiving yards every game. That's a lock. The offensive line is shot for the Dolphins. They can't run the ball for shit. I mean, look at his rushing yards, and he still gets 20 points a game. So I really like Achane receiving yards at 33. I mean, that's 33.5. I like that a lot.
He made me sweat that one until the overtime last game. Do we think this game's going to go to overtime as well?
I think this is going to be one of the highest scoring games of the week, and people are sleeping on it. I mean, you get the Dolphins in a dome. This is where these guys get to be electric. They get to be the fastest they can be. This is like the fastest show on turf. I like Tyreek. I like Waddle. I like Tua. I like HN. I like all of it. I like Tank Dell, Nico, Mixon, Stroud. All of them. Except Schultz. Everyone but Schultz and Jonnu.
Yeah, this is now going to be the one. I still like John in this game, but I don't love him. I'm with you there. This might be the game that I watch at 1 o'clock now. Thanks. You swayed me. Anything else you want to touch about this game? Who's winning? Who's losing?
I like the Dolphins to fight for their playoff life, but that's bias. I'm just such an A-Champ fan. It's biased.
I also like the Dolphins to fight for their playoff lives, but I'm also a New England Patriots fan, so fuck the Dolphins.
What about if there was a Jason Sanders prop too here? That would be interesting because he's been bombing kicks lately. He's been on fire as a kicker, but
I'm sure that will be there tomorrow for sure.
And the Texans are giving up a lot of points to the kicker, about 10 a game.
All right. King of Smack, 24-20 Houston. So you also like the under, King of Smack. Well, welcome to the community. Fit right in. You're a gambling degenerate, just like us. I could tell because you know what an over-under is. Let's go. All right, next game. Game I absolutely hate. We got the new.
What's the card we're making?
Oh, I'm just going to build at the end because I'm constantly having to refresh and go back, and it's just ruining the flow of the show. So I'm going to make a couple cards at the end, all 8 pieces with our favorite tops. New York Jets -3.5 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over under is 40.5. I like the New York Jets, just the money line. I don't like the over. I don't like the under. There's still too much volatility. Evan Ingram out for the entire season on IR with, I believe, a shoulder. Brian Thomas Jr. is the first name on Jacksonville that pops out to me because Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne is too volatile. Travis, what's his face? Doug Peterson, too volatile. They have a Mac Jones over 0.5 interceptions prop.
I like that.
I love it. It's the best prop on the entire fucking week. I wonder if that stays. I'm willing to put the house on that. So this is one of those games I look at and it's like, okay, I could like Anders Carson over 1.5 field goals. But until we get full clarity on Breece Hall, I'm not touching this game. I think if you have Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson, you have to play both of them. Must. Brian Thomas Jr. is all ceiling, no floor, but his floor has been his ceiling. So eventually the wheels are going to fall off, and I'm not going to recommend starting him against the New York Jets defense, even if it's Sauce Gardner in or out. I think the pass rush is going to be electric, and as long as Mac Jones is the guy throwing the fucking football, I'm not trusting it. So this game's a major avoid for me. I will say if Breece Hall plays, he's inserted into my top 10 list. If he doesn't play, Braylon Allen's inserted into my top 15. Both of them are must plays, and I like the over on both of the rushing props. Isaiah Davis, I'm not playing him regardless because, as we alluded to earlier, as we were covering the Miami Dolphins game, the game script favored the receiving back. Yes, he found work on the floor as well as in the air. But if we're talking about ground game back, Braylon Allen over him. So, yeah, either way, Braylon Allen or Breece Hall, they're going to be in a lot of my DFS lineups so as I build them tomorrow with more information.
And there's nothing there yet.
Yeah, nothing.
Are you good?
Yeah, good. You're up.
Oh, I love Aaron Rodgers to crush 226. He threw for 300 last game, finding a little groove. I like Garrett Wilson to crush his yards. He got 100 last game. It's way too low at 61.5. Devontae Adams has covered 66.5 in both games. The Jags give up way too much passing yards. And I just don't trust Breece Hall with this injury. I know if he's out there, you're going to start him, right? You could probably see Braylon Allen at the goal line as well, which will hurt Breece. But I think this is going to be more of an Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson game here. And I don't like much of anything because, there's no Evan Ingram. I would love to say BTJ, but I think he's going to be the focal point now. So it's going to be kind of a different defensive look going up against him. And what I'm trying to find as I'm scrolling through here.
So let me ask you a question. Say David Njoku doesn't play tomorrow. Say Evan Ingram's out. Say you need tight end help with Will Dissly being out. Who would you rather play? Cole Strange, Akins, or Smart?
Akins.
I'm leaning Smart, but I don't hate Cole Strange either. So I'm very curious as to what his thoughts are.
That's where I was going to go next. I like Cole Strange receiving yards at 28.5.
They have a Strange receiving prop?
Yeah.
Brenton Strange. Cole Strange is the guard for the New England Patriots. I got to have my Patriots on. All right. Yeah, I mean that's totally doable. I prefer his receptions prop over his receiving yards or longest. So I'm just not touching this game until we get Brees Hall information.
So I mean, if you look at it's a 28, right? The Jets are giving up about 33, but there's no one really out there. So I mean, who are they going to pass to? Parker Washington, Travis Etienne at the backfield again. He didn't rush for shit last game. It was all Bigsby. I don't like either of the running backs. I like what you said there. They're volatile. I'm not touching that. I'm going to go with the Mac Jones interception. I like that as like one of the locks of the week. He's throwing a pick for sure.
Yeah, I'm surely drafters is watching this right now, and they're going to they're going to take that prop off anytime.
What about Parker Washington receiving? Even though the Jets are good for 27 yards, seems low.
I'm a betting man, but I like to make smart bets. I'm just not betting on Mac Jones. I'm not betting on Mac Jones unless it's giving the ball to the other fucking team. As a Patriots fan, I've learned my lesson. Jets, great streaming option this week. I don't disagree whatsoever. Definitely a great streaming option. Peanut Butter and Jelly says, smart. I know. I am so smart. SMRT. You know that Simpsons scene where
Stone Smart.
SMARTT. Stone Smart. It's funny. It's funny. All right, you ready for the next game?
I don't like this game, but yeah.
I do. There's a lot I like about this. Washington Commanders are 7.5 point favorites against New Orleans. I feel like that's too low. The over-under is 43.5. This is the Marshawn Lattimore revenge game. He had to get out of the division because he's sick and tired of Mike Evans taking fucking cheap shots at him when he's not looking. He's just not looking. Every time Mike Evans takes a cheap shot at him, he's just not fucking looking. O's getting suckered there. So I'll let you go first here. I know you're not excited about this game. So what do you like? What do you dislike? Alvin Kamara was an ultimate disappointment last week, and obviously the Commanders are coming off of a bye.
I mean, you gotta like everything Brian Robinson. You gotta like Brian Robinson for anytime TD in this game. I mean, I don't think with Jake Haener at quarterback you can even judge really anything from the Saints. I mean, it is Lattimore's revenge game. Terry McLaurin has a super plus matchup to the max, but do I think the game script is going to lead them to pass a lot? This is like the New York Giants game to me. I don't know how Jake Haener is going to look, and I'm a Fresno State guy. He's all right. I mean, I would like to take the kickers in this game at Blake Group, but he gave me a 0, so I'm not touching him. I mean, this is why I'm like staying away from this game because I just think the Commanders could just own this game, and it could be really, really ugly for the Saints.
All right, Terry McLaurin over 25.5 longest receptions is an absolute lock for this game. If we're talking about no defensive backs, and they've given up this kind of number to shittier quarterbacks and shittier situations, if we're not, accounting for the one time they play the Rams.
I like the yards over that. No,
I like them both. I would stagger them both. The yards is also a safe bet. I feel like the longest reception he's due for. If we're looking at the every game they've played since Marshawn Lattimore's been out, at least one receiver has gone for over 28.5 longest reception. So I think it's an absolute lock, and he's my wide receiver one there in that room. I'm avoiding Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I'm avoiding Kevin Austin.
Yeah, I don't.
Kendra Miller, 32.5 rushing yards is very rich. Alvin Kamara has another plus matchup against a defense that has struggles, but I'm not touching.
I don't trust it. Yeah,
he's been super disappointing. I would say if there's one prop, I'm really like I think that like I will toss in a couple of cards is over the rushing yards or longest rush just because the numbers indicate so. But I just fucking hate the New Orleans Saints. They're a dumpster fire. I like the longest rush for Brian Robinson. I think the longest rush is more doable than his rushing yards. I'd be interested to see McNichols rushing props. Do I like Jaden Daniels?
No love for Diami Brown with Noah Brown out?
No
season?
No. I mean I think KJ Osborne fills that void a little bit more because Diami Brown is not an every down wide receiver.
Okay. Yeah. I mean
he like when he gets in, he could be absolutely electric and absolutely spectacular and light him up.
I like his game. I do.
I was very bullish on him in the best ball in the offseason, but it's literally been Terry McLaurin, Jaden Daniels, Brian Robinson Jr.,
That's it.
and Austin Eckler. Zach Ertz has been a great 20th round streamer for like 8 to 9 fantasy points on a weekly basis. But this game, it's like 19.5 completions, 214.5 passing yards. It's all doable. Longest rush, super doable. I mean, I would sprinkle in the longest rush for Jaden Daniels as well. I think that's easily an outlier for him as well. But Jawan Johnson, 3.5 receptions. Like his volume has increased substantially. He's been a spectacular tight end since Taysom Hill's been gone.
I like that one a lot.
But the quarterback situation is so volatile. Like it should be easy. It should be free. But every time it should be easy and it should be free for the New Orleans Saints. It's not. It really isn't. Right. So that's the one team I'm on like major avoid. Other than Terry McLaurin, I'm not willing to bet on anybody.
Or Brian. I mean, I like Brian Robinson, but I don't know the game script. I think he could crush the yards. This is such a good matchup for him and Terry. But
yeah,
we're going to see Chris Rodriguez or Jerry McNichols.
Yeah,
they're pulling him out. That's the thing I'm worried about.
Yeah, I mean, you're not lying. All right, let's talk about a fun game. Let's talk about.
Get me out of this game. This is the game of the week.
All right, all right. We got the Bills, the Buffalo Bills, who are 2.5-point dogs coming into Ford Field. The over/under is now actually, has it gone up? Let me double check. Last I checked, the over/under was at 55. It's 54.5. We got the right numbers. Disco's always on point. 54.5 is the over/under. Each and every single time the over and under has been anywhere close to this mark, they've gone over that. So, do you like the over?
I like the over.
Yeah,
just like the Rams game last week or 2 weeks ago.
Who's going to win?
I think the Bills bounce back this week.
Yeah.
And they got everyone healthy. They got Keon Coleman back, Dalton Kincaid back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be tough to stop him. And now Amari Cooper looks great. And he got, like 14 targets last week on 50% snaps.
What a call, Disco. What a fucking call. Disco. Great call.
This is your David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, just explosion game, though.
What about James Cook? 49.5 rushing yards.
I don't trust him.
I fucking do, man. I love him this week. He's a top 10 running back for me this week and every fucking week moving forward.
He's not getting the work.
I love James Cook this week.
He's got 45% snaps, 45% snaps. I'm not touching that guy.
All right. So when we're talking about Buffalo, where do they seem the weakest?
The run.
100%. So do we like the over for both of the running backs here?
I like the longest for both the running backs here.
Okay. I mean, I would sprinkle in 10.5 longest reception for David Montgomery.
I like his receiving yards too.
His 10.5 longest reception he has gotten almost every single week this season. I forgot the stat, but like last week, the stat was like 90% of the games. So I'm riding with that again. I love the Jahmyr Gibbs over his rushing or longest rush. 18.5 seems a little rich, actually. So I'm going over his rushing. James Cook, I like the over on his rushing as well. Don't question it. Now, if we're talking about where Detroit's weak when we're talking about the passing game, it's not the slot. We saw that with Jaden Reed. It was not the slot. They have not given up a lot of production to the slot position.
I think that's different now because when Romeo Dobbs back, it's going to open things up back up for Reed. He's not.
I'm not fading Reed, but if we're talking about one constant, the Detroit Lions do not give a lot of production to the slot, but they give up top 3 production on a weekly basis to opposing wide receiver 1s and opposing wide receiver 2s. So with that being said, I love Amari Cooper's receptions. I love his receiving yards. I prefer his receptions at 3.5. 48.5 seems also free. Stagger both of them, if you will. Keon Coleman not touching. Tim Patrick not really touching either. Sam Laporta, I love him this week.
Yep. I have him a tight end 6. I like Laporta a lot.
I love him this week. What do you prefer, his longest or his longest or his receiving yards?
I'm going receiving yards. I think he's going to have a monster game this week.
Okay. Bates over 1.5 field goals or kicker points. I think he's automatic for 1.5 field goals on a weekly basis. What do you think?
I mean, this offense is so powerful. I like both of them. I'd take either one.
All right. Now, I like Amon-Ra to bounce back with his longest reception as well, 21.5.
Amon-Ra is going up for 100+ yards in this game.
Yeah, I like him to bounce back. I think that's super free. And
watch this game be like 17-14. No way.
Listen, if that's the case, shame on the NFL. But I highly doubt it. And I just want to look back at like one of my favorite locks from one of where's the Mac Jones prop? Watch that be the one that doesn't hit over the 0.5 interceptions. Safety in this.
What? I didn't even tell me what it was.
Okay, I'm about to. I just had to lock it in before drafters change it on me. I got the Mac Jones over 0.5 interceptions.
Okay.
I'm going James Cook over his rushing yards, Gibbs over his rushing yards.
Why Cook? Stand on business right now. Play the video. Fucking hit it. I don't like this bet at all. No.
Okay.
Put it on.
Give me 1 sec. Give me 1 sec. Hold on. I got it. Okay.
Hold up. What did you just say? I'm gonna need you to stand on business.
All right, give me a sec. Just pulling up my numbers. All right.
So, okay.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say the Detroit Lions have been the #1 run defense for the past 4 weeks, allowing the least yardage.
Okay. And what happened last week?
Last week would be your aberration game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I want to hear why. I want the reasoning behind this because the guy that's playing 40% snaps, I cannot say is a lock.
One, because of the injuries. That's the most significant indicator. Two, if you're factoring in the last 2 weeks, they've given up 115 rushing yards. And if you average that out, that's
right.
50,
but those are
57.5 on average.
Never comes off the field.
But okay, so we also saw DeAndre Swift go for almost 40, 50 yards against these guys as well. If we're talking about somebody who needs to be involved for a team that needs to win to keep an offense that's absolutely prolific off of the field, James Cook needs to get involved. I like him for an anytime touchdown. I like him for 100 rushing yards. I love James Cook.
100?
He's a top 5 running back for me this week, and I love him. I love him to bounce back.
All right.
And if you want to bet 10 gifted on James Cook 100, I'm willing to
I'll take it. Yes,
right.
I'll take it.
All right.
100. Okay.
10 gifted.
I'll take the bet with you. 49.5. I mean, but still, it's super tough.
Listen, that's why we
too much Ty Johnson. You're getting too much Ray Davis. He's not getting enough work. That toe is banged up.
And we're talking about playing the fucking total, man. You got to look at the total.
I know,
the total is 54.5. You got to look at the game script as like, okay, well, like something's got to give. And I just love both offenses. And there's no way James Cook doesn't fucking pop.
Well, what about his receiving yards over the rushing?
I mean, it's doable, but I don't trust it anymore. It's no longer an outlier. We're 9.5 longest reception hit for us every week for like the first 5 weeks. It's no longer an outlier.
Yeah. So, yeah, okay, I'll roll with it. All right. You swayed me. All right, 49.5. What else you got on there?
Jake Bates over 1.5 field goals. I got the over longest reception for David Montgomery. I got over rushing yards for Gibbs. I got over receiving yards.
Wait. You're flying.
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs rushing yards.
Yep.
Okay, 67.5. David Montgomery longest. Bates field goal. What else?
Longest reception for Montgomery.
Oh, I got it. 10.5. Okay.
Okay. Amon Ra, longest reception.
Amon Ra, 21.5. Okay.
Amari Cooper over 3.5 receptions.
Oh my God, they gave Cooper 3.5
and only 40.5.
That's the lock of the week.
Yeah, it's up there with the Mac Jones interception and Laporta over 37.5 receiving yards.
And Laporta. So we're going heavy on all these, but we can't do Goff. Yep. Okay. And 10 safety.
I put 5. I used my drafters free ticket and safetied it.
All right. I'm rolling with it. All
right. Did you talk about this game or did you want to talk about this game? What do you like about this
game? I love this game. I mean,
this is Super Bowl.
Yeah, this is the game of the week to watch. I mean, Josh Allen's passing yards seems like an absolute lock with how many yards the Detroit Lions give up. Amari Cooper at 3.5 receptions is absolutely freaking criminal after last week.
Yeah.
And he's just getting worked in. So you know he's usually an 80-90% receiver, and he plays 50% snaps. He's 14
targets. Like my assessment for him to be wide receiver 1 was bang on because of how many times he was targeted. It just didn't pan out because it just didn't pan out. But like what we saw from this Buffalo Bills team in a dome. These guys need to make a fucking dome. Like, I know that they agreed to
Oh my God,
do another
it'd be
outdoor
amazing.
stadium. If they were to do a dome with Josh Allen, like, this team would be must-watch TV. I mean, they are close to must-watch TV on a weekly basis, and I love Josh Allen broke fantasy football last week and still lost, which is absolutely crazy. But good for him. I'm glad that he's having this season. I'm glad I was on the bandwagon of them going to the Super Bowl. We had people saying they're not even going to make the fucking playoffs. We had people say that the Jets and the Dolphins would be 1 and 2 in the, like, come on, man. Come on, man. Josh Allen owns that division. He's owned it since Brady's left, and he's not going to drop.
Change anytime soon.
And this is coming from a Pats fan, so I got to give respect where respect's due, and I love Josh Allen this year. This game could literally blow up in our face. So they put up 40 last week. Why do we think that they put that up again? I think Buff defense will play better than Detroit defense will play.
Defense is
two at home. So here's the thing, right? It's not necessarily we're reacting from last week, because yes, if we're reacting from last week, both teams put up a ton of points. Both teams gave up a significant amount of points. But if we're looking at schematically where teams are susceptible, no team plays more 6-man boxes than the Buffalo Bills, which is a nickel defense. They're kind of daring you to throw the ball on them. That's why we're taking longest reception over reception props, and that's why we're smashing the rushing props, because they're asking teams to run the ball. No team runs the ball better. I mean, like, you could debate, the offensive, but like, they're easily a top 3 rushing. So schematically against Buffalo, you always kind of want to look at, is this a good running team? Because they're going to play a lot of nickel defense, and they're not going to change up the nickel defense, because if they do, then Jared Goff is going to kill them in the air, and it's going to turn into a track meet. So damned if you do, damned if you don't. You don't want them behind you. You want to keep them in front of you. If you get run over, so be it. You're going to try to make the tackle and rally down. Okay, so that's why we like that. Okay, so we know that Buffalo's given up a lot of production. They've given up a lot of rushing touchdowns. This is what Detroit does tremendously. Now, on the year, Detroit has given up a lot of production to wide receivers, a significant amount of production to wide receivers. So if we're looking at Josh Allen, this guy could throw with the best of them. Amari Cooper is coming on 14 targets. He had his best day as a Buffalo Bill by far, and it's only going to continue to get better, especially in these circumstances. So yeah, man, I love this game. I love the forecast. Superstars across the board on offense, and one defense is super stubborn by playing nickel defense, and another defense that is absolutely riddled and destroyed by injuries. So the over only makes sense.
I like Khalil Shakir's receiving a ton.
I don't because
he's their game breaker, man.
He is, but if we're talking about like slot positions, that is the one position Detroit can defend in the air. They are good at defending, and like, sure, it could smash, it could absolutely smash, but it's not an outlier to me, and I don't love it. Baker, Stroud, Winston, and AJ Brown or Drake London. I'm going to say Baker Mayfield, because that game, it's either Baker or CJ Stroud for me. Jameis Winston is not I don't want to touch him unless we get David Njoku news.
So do you know who leads the NFL in yak for a wide receiver?
It's him. It's Khalil Shakir.
You don't like his longest or anything? Just get this guy in space.
I mean, it's doable, but is it an outlier? Right? I try to just stick to the numbers, and I know it's super stubborn of me.
He's covered it in 7 out of 8 games.
Yeah, but like the common denominator in those games is those teams weren't great against the slot.
I know, but this game is just too. I guess.
I hear you. Listen.
Looks like everything's going over.
If you want to build a card with him, for sure. I know everything looks like it's going over. It's just not one of the outliers for me when I looked at the numbers here. But let's answer this question. It's either Baker or Stroud. If we're talking about Baker, he's playing against the Chargers. The Chargers are going to want to play boring football, and the Buccaneers are going to want to air it out, and they're going to want to play in-your-face football. So I'm going to say Baker Mayfield. I like Baker Mayfield. CJ Stroud has the highest upside if we're talking about the last 4 weeks, over the last month, what Miami's given up, and that game's got a higher point total. So I'm leaning, let's say, Stroud then Baker. I just trust Baker a little bit more because he's been more consistent with his play. What about you?
He's back healthy, man. I like Stroud. I don't like Baker a lot.
And then I'm I'm going AJ Brown, even though I absolutely love Drake London this week. I think AJ Brown comes back in a 2 or 3 touchdown performance like we saw last time he played at Lincoln Financial Field. Sonic
from both there. I like Drake, but look at this. I got something. I found something you need to see here for Drake as well. 96.3, the highest mismatch advantage of the week belongs to Drake London.
And if we're looking at the targets over the last 4 weeks, the last month, he is the second most targeted player when we're looking at overall targets from his team. His floor has been absolutely safe. We've just been missing a ceiling play.
And the Raiders giving up the third most targets to wide receivers, fourth most yards.
It comes down to Kirk Cousins. It comes down to Kirk Cousins. And he's had 32.6% of his team targets. He's had 46 total targets since. Like he's
insert the Penix.
Fuck, I mean, like regardless, Drake London is top 10 wide receiver this week and every other week moving forward for the rest of the season because his schedule is so beautiful. Peanut Butter Jelly Time says Sonic and Knuckles could both go for 20 in this matchup. Nice.
Yeah, I like that too a lot.
I don't hate that take. Jameson Williams ain't no Puka, but the way Detroit throws to set slot wide receivers should eat behind Buffalo linebackers. I don't think JMO's the slot, though. Tim Patrick lined up the vast majority at the slot position. If anybody is going to bump into the slot simply because he's a threat to block, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's why I like Amon-Ra. But your assessment and your process is right. Josh Allen going to have to do it all again. I'm here for it, but I also think James Cook's going to do a heck of a lot. Detroit has defense.
I got another one for you here as well too. Going back to Khalil Shakir because you made me look it up. Khalil Shakir last year played 78% of the snaps in the slot. This year he's only playing 60. He's playing 40% out wide.
Yeah, but like 60 is still a heck of a lot.
No, I
40%. It's still like that. Your
when Keon Coleman comes back, he plays more slot than Shakir, and he's back.
Yeah. Detroit has defense. Rams defense is no. I don't know. Rams defense has been okay. They've been better than what they've looked like on paper. They've been better on the field than what they have on paper. They're a well coached team, and like the Rams, what they do is they stack. They do the complete opposite that Buffalo does. They stack the box and dare you to throw because they just want to get their offense back on the field. And why wouldn't they want to get their offense back on the field? It's very interesting. We buy homes near you, 512. I know Sleez loves the name. My guys, in a non-PPR, who should I start at wide receiver, London or Shakir? I'm going London. At flex, Breece Hall, Rashad White, or Tony Pollard. I would say if Breece Hall plays, play him. If Bucky doesn't play, okay, so if Bucky doesn't play Rashad White. If Breece Hall plays, play him. I love Tony Pollard for the safest floor. Breece Hall has the highest ceiling. Rashad White is your X factor, right? He's been unreal. He was unreal down the stretch last year, finding the end zone pretty much every fucking week. He's been unreal down the stretch this year, finding the end zone pretty much every fucking week. So yeah, he's the X factor. I think Breece Hall has the highest ceiling and the best matchup, but he's probably the most volatile with the injury. I think Rashad White has the highest ceiling as long as Bucky's not playing. I think Tony Pollard has the safest floor. I hope that answers your question. What's up, boys? Happy Saturday. Good to see you, Bone Diggity. I suggest Lennon at wide receiver, Rashad White at flex, in my opinion. It all depends on Bucky Irving because you definitely want a high ceiling with a safe floor. Let me ask Sleez, you still like Neighbors over Marvin Harrison Jr. this week?
I don't like Marvin Harrison Jr. versus Chris Gonzalez.
I mean, everybody treats Christian Gonzalez as the fucking boogeyman, and this team has given up the most fantasy points to wide receiver 1s and 2s over the last month and like top 5 in the entire year. Set my lineup. Killer Kev 4201 says set my lineup. 1 quarterback, 2 wide receivers.
Hang on. Pause for a minute. Christian Gonzalez, when shadowing the wide receiver 1 at 70% on the season, has allowed 25 or fewer yards in 7 of 13 games.
Okay, allow me to push back. We even saw this with Patrick Surtain. There's no team that is going to 100% shadow a wide receiver 1 because you are giving your hand on what you're playing defensively. You cannot line up in man 100% of the time in the NFL because you are going to give up man beater route combinations to other players. So to disguise your coverage, sure, he's going to travel, but he's not going to play on him 100% of the time. So when he travels with him and plays zone, like there's going to be a lot of variances. We saw that Jerry Jeudy went absolutely nuclear against PS2 because PS2 only guarded him 37% of the time, and it's the same scenario here.
Okay, hang on. 60 targets, 40% completion rate, 320 yards allowed in 13 games from Chris Gonzalez and the guy he's covering.
And he's not going to cover him more than 35% of the time. That's the number. That's the number you need to find. How many times?
I don't trust Marvin Harrison Jr. He's boomer bust.
I don't trust him either. But like, if we're talking about boomer bust, that's fantasy football. Like you know for a fact that you draft these players who are very high ceiling, very limited floor. You want those players to boom on your lineup, not on your bench. Marvin Harrison Jr. has a fantastic matchup with a better quarterback, and Tommy DeVito is not a good quarterback, even though
Neighbor's going to get the volume that Marvin does not. And I take 10 gifted bet right now that Neighbors outplays MHJ.
Okay, I'll take that bet.
We locked in 2 of them. All right.
All right. Set my lineup: 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 flex. Baker, Stroud. Okay, so Stroud, Bijan, Kyron locked. Okay, 2 running backs, so Bijan for sure.
Christ, this team is loaded.
James Conner for sure. Jettas, Nico, AJ Brown done. And then flex. London.
Standard scoring. So Stroud, you have to play Bijan. I mean, that's the number 1 matchup for the Raiders.
So between James Conner gives you a safer floor. Drake London gives you a higher ceiling. Standard scoring.
So I would go Stroud.
Standard
Bijan,
scoring.
Yes, standard. Stroud, Bijan, Connor, Jettas, Nico, and London.
Yeah.
That team is fake, bro. Was it 8-man?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Jesus Christ. So on DK, would you go Allen, Gibbs plus Montgomery, run back with Knox? No, I'm not touching Knox.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Don't like Knox. Just a thought on that last question I asked. No, don't like Knox at all, especially with Kincaid back, and even then the volume's not going to them. They're more inline blockers than route runners.
Number 1 versus tight end.
Yeah. Bucky is a true game time decision according to the Bucks. Yeah. Brees or Amari. I like Amari as stipular mellow. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. Brees or Amari. I mean, Brees, one scoring format is very important here. I think Amari goes absolutely nuclear because the matchup is so advantageous, but it's also a very good matchup for Brees coming off of an injury, super volatile. If you're going for the ceiling play, it's Amari. If you're going for the safe floor, it's Brees. Good luck. Harrison is too cheap on DK. It's one of the best matchups in football. Watching from the start. Good luck this weekend, gentlemen. Shout out to Updog, guys. This guy is the fantasy football best ball GOAT. He's finished second in several of these best ball tournaments. He's won hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it looks like he's in line to do the same this year, especially since he's expanded to all the other apps. So shout out to Updog, buddy. I absolutely love you. You're a GOAT. I think Ridley has solid chance still hitting the 4.5 receptions. It's super doable.
That's my lock of the week. My guy.
Super doable. I just don't like him. Can Kyle Pitts be trusted? Pitts or Hunter Henry? Pitts or Smart? I'm saying Hunter Henry for sure. Love the matchup. I'm saying I like Smart. It's so fucked up that Smart's a safer play than Pitts. But like I alluded to earlier,
Pitts is going to smash this week.
As I alluded to earlier, he's a high ceiling player. You don't like you should be prepared for the risks. Kyle Pitts has a tremendous high ceiling game this week. So I'm saying Hunter Henry over Pitts, but Pitts over Smart. All right, what do you got here?
Those are my 3 locks of the week. Calvin Henry 4.5, Lamb receiving, and David Montgomery receiving.
I don't hate it. I'm here for it. All right. 12 man. I went 0 RB and turned Chuba, Dobbins, Najee, Hunt, Montgomery, Kyler into Bijan, Kyler. It's fucking nuts, man. Hunter Henry, in my opinion, yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. Moving on.
Well, you lead off your Patriot game, bro.
It's not Patriots next.
That's not?
It's Indianapolis Colts, 4-point dogs coming into Denver. Both teams coming off of a bye. Bo Nix versus Anthony Richardson. Game kicks off in Denver. Over under is 44.0.
Shit is tripping. I had to refresh. Now it's back. All right.
Yeah, I mean they've done that to me so many times, but I made sure I had the right order leading into this. So, what do you like about this game? What do you dislike about this game?
Man, if you're thinking about what Jameis Winston did last time before the bye, you have to like the passing yards for Anthony Richardson at 187.
Yeah, but he's also a terrible passer of the football.
Different type. I know, different type quarterback. That's why I wasn't there yet. My number one lock for this game is anything Cortland Sutton, 70 yards or 5.5 receptions. I absolutely love those. I wish they had like a Marvin Mims rushing prop because they're starting to use him as a running back as well. So it's kind of interesting there. And I would take Jaleel McLaughlin's rushing yards to the moon at 35.5. That's really all I would say, unless I'm looking for a Colts prop. I don't really. Josh Downs' first game back. I know he's the guy. Michael Pittman at 3.5 receptions. I'm still not willing to touch that. You're going to draw a lot of Surtain there as well. Jonathan Taylor's rushing yards looks enticing, but it's kind of rich at 75.5. I would probably take the 13.5 longest rush from Anthony Richardson from the Colts side. That's about it.
Okay, so I'll say this: I'm not bullish on whoever the wide receiver one is for the Indianapolis Colts. And a healthy Josh Downs is the wide receiver one, so I'm more inclined to lean on Michael Pittman because the wide receiver two does get a heck of a lot of production against Denver. The completions is a little rich here, especially since there's a lot of for Bo Nix, especially since there's a lot of rushing upside against the Indianapolis Colts because it's one of the most advantageous matchups on the week. Jaleel McLaughlin's rushing yards, Javonte's rushing yards, and I mean, even if they had Audric Essing's rushing yards, it's all doable, but you have a 33% probability of hitting that right. So unless you stagger it on 3 different and 100x props, which you could by using promo code DISCO on Drafters Fantasy to double your initial deposit up to $100, it's not safe to pick one of these running backs, but one of these running backs has top 10 RB upside this week just based off of the matchup and the opportunity. With that being said, Jonathan Taylor, longest rush, don't love it. Alec Pierce, longest reception. It's doable, but I don't love it. Anthony Richardson's longest rush is enticing at 13.5. I think it's super doable. This pass rush has gotten worse and less healthy. Mr. Mercy says Bo Nix rushing yards. If you look at Bo Nix's rushing yards the last 4 weeks, he hasn't hit it.
He's
like
negative.
That's why I'm not as bullish on Bo Nix as other people are because the rushing upside is gone.
Bo Nix in the past 4 weeks has 9 rushing yards total in 4 games.
So I'm not a fan of his rushing yards. Sure, it's doable, but like if we're following historic trends, he's not running the ball as much as he has in the past. And because of that, he kind of has lost the vast majority of his like top 10 quarterback upside because the rushing upside isn't there. The 1.5 passing touchdowns is enticing, but I like the under more than the over. I think the running backs are going to do more or get more touchdown equity than in the passing. But if I'm talking about what I like here, I think Anthony Richardson, longest rush. I like that. Am I willing to bet on it? Probably not. And then, yeah, I guess your call on Cortland Sutton kind of makes sense. Receptions, receiving yards.
Cortland Sutton has been getting fed like a machine.
Yeah, like it's super doable. And this is a very advantageous matchup for both tight ends, but both tight ends don't fucking exist. It's literally like
none. And this is a tight end matchup for both sides. And
it's a great matchup. I mean, the kicker points are super doable for both of them.
Cortland Sutton has seen 10 targets in 6 straight games, averaging 10, and over 7 receptions in 7 straight games.
Yeah. And like still, I think the only thing that's a safe bet is over kicker points or field goals for both kickers. That's all I like.
I like Lutz. I don't know if I like Gay.
Wow, man, that's super homophobic. All right, are we ready to get away from this game and move on?
Yeah, I want you to lead up the Patriots because I'm starting Drake May in a very expensive league.
All right, we got my New England Patriots, who are 6-point dogs coming into Arizona. The over-under is 46.0. And if you guys don't know, this is a Kyler Murray revenge game. Sleez, are you going to ask me why this is a Kyler Murray revenge game?
Why is this a Kyler Murray revenge game?
Did you actually not know?
His ACL injury?
This is the team that he played when he tore his ACL. So, God, just can't. Nothing goes over your head. Your mind's a weapon. Fucking crazy. All right. So with that being said, I like the Patriots slot receivers. Anybody who lines within the inside, because that is one of the major weaknesses for the Arizona Cardinals. They give up a lot of production in the corners, pretty much the sidelines. If you're running flats, so Ramondre Stevenson's receptions is definitely in play. If you're running corners, if you're running outs, you're in play. So I like Demario Douglas. I like Ramondre Stevenson. I like Hunter Henry. I like all of the receptions props and receiving yards props for what it's worth. I like Drake May's longest rush. I love Trey McBride. And like every week we say this is the week Trey McBride's going to score, but I never said it. This is the week Trey McBride finds the end zone. He's my tight end one of the week. Kyler Murray's longest rush at 12.5, also absolute lock. I do like this game a lot. There's a lot to take away here. I like the rushing yards for James Conner. I think he finds the end zone here. Ramondre Stevenson, 14.5 receiving yards for sure. DeMarcado's out for the season, by the way, on IR.
Yep.
Demario Douglas over 18.5 longest reception because he is their slot guy. I do like Marvin Harrison Jr. a lot in this matchup. I'm just not betting on him. Hunter Henry.
I like his receptions. He's seen 9 a game. I don't care about the matchup. He's the only guy they have.
Yeah, and then I'm also taking the Trey McBride receptions here. So we got one more.
I'm ready to build a full card on this game. I like this game a lot.
I have 7.
So Drake May rushing, Trey McBride receptions, Hunter Henry receptions, James Conner rushing, Ramondre receiving, longest for DeMario. That's what I like right now.
That I think I also have Kyler Murray
longest rush.
Yeah.
Oh God, 12.5. Okay, I like that. Yeah.
Slide kicker points or Ryland kicker points. It's in Arizona. I think slide kicker points 5.5.
I think I'm really interested in Michael Wilson's 32.5.
I don't hate it, but it's also not an outlier. Like even in good matchups, he doesn't get it. In bad matchups, he does.
I know. I just feel like it's gonna be.
I like the Joey Sly over 5.5 kicker points.
You like Sly?
Yeah, I'm safetying it. That's my 8 piece.
I like it a lot. Yeah. I don't even think this one needs to be safety. I really like that card.
Still safetying it.
I'm gonna switch my Drake May to rushing yards over longest rush.
Okay. Well, what's his rushing yards at?
28.
It's a little rich for me, but like you got to realize every week he goes for like a 25 yard rush, and then like never runs the ball again.
So what was his highest rushing in the year? Wasn't like 95 or something? No, 95 against Tennessee.
Yeah, but he had like 3 runs where he Tennessee game he was on one, and coming off of a bye, I don't know, man. John Mayo's done a decent job with what he's had. It's been a total shit show. I mean, on the other, like Patriots news, since we're talking about my New England Patriots, congratulations to Bill Belichick. His girlfriend now has a full scholarship to the University of North Carolina. That was the pulling point to she just out of high school, full scholarship. He's like, yes, hired, University of North Carolina. Fuck that. Jesus. So stupid. Denver, Philly, or Cards defense special teams. I would lean Denver or Philly. No George Pickens makes me a little bit more bullish on Philly. I think Russell Wilson.
I like Philly a lot.
Yeah. But I mean, like Anthony Richardson's due for a couple giveaways in Denver. Has been lights out all week. So I would say Philly, Denver, either or are good. Cards are an avoid.
I like Cards versus New England too. They're all good.
I don't know, man. I think New England puts up a little bit more points than people are going to give them credit for. Jerry, shout out to you, buddy. Good to see you. Who do you have winning the Patriots lose? I think Kyler Murray's got a top 5 quarterback upside. If it's Kyler Murray,
or like win now.
Yeah, if it's Kyler Murray or a Bo Nix situation, it's Kyler Murray. If it's Kyler Murray, Anthony Richardson's Kyler Murray or James Winston's Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is a top 5 quarterback for me. The matchup here across the board is a very advantageous matchup. I'm following the numbers, and if he flops, then that's between him and Jesus. Like the assessment there and the research was there, and I can only do so much except for play the game for him, unless I'm playing Madden. All right. Even that, Kyler Murray is not the first choice. Fuck that
Bill
guy.
Belichick. I like how you threw that in there. Fucking weird.
I know, it's so fucking dumb. All right, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are only 5-point dogs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. The game is in Philly, right?
in Philly.
Yeah. So last time they played at the Lincoln Financial, AJ Brown went absolutely nuclear in 2022. Jalen Hurts threw for over 284 yards. The writing's on the wall for a get-right game between these two guys who absolutely don't like each other, but we're not seeing sit-ups in the fucking garage, in the driveway of the garage with a bunch of news people. We're not seeing a quarterback throw his wide receiver under the bus. I was a big fan of the way I'm just a big fan of Jalen Hurts and the way he handles himself. Like he had a quote. He said, like, the other week I wore a pair of cleats, that says heavy is the head that wears the crown. And that was his response to the entire AJ Brown scenario. So good for him for just having a good head on his shoulders. He cannot be ruffled. His feathers, he doesn't have feathers to be ruffled, even though he's an Eagle. With that being said, man, what do you like about this game?
Nothing.
Wow.
Pat Freiermuth is the only thing I like in this game.
Wow.
Pat Freiermuth
all that build up for you to go.
Hang on.
Nothing.
So when you look at your phone, guys, you're looking at your fantasy football roster on Yahoo or Sleeper or ESPN, whatever it is, you're going to look at Pat Freiermuth. It's going to show you red. It's going to say that the Eagles are very good versus the tight end. But as of late, they have not been at all good versus the tight end. This is a very advantageous matchup for Pat Freiermuth, especially with Pickens out. They've given up 182 yards in the past 4 games. His prop is way too low. I like it for anytime touchdown as well. 32.5. I'm smashing Pat Freiermuth. And you could always take Chris Boswell for 6.5. I think that's way too low for him in this game. I mean, this guy, he's been on fire this year. And I would throw out that I think that Mike Williams, 21, is crazy with no Pickens. He can get 21 yards in any play. I like that as well. He got like 37 last week. He saw his first action, his most snaps. I don't want to touch Jalen Hurts passing. He hasn't passed for over 200 yards in 3 games. He hasn't thrown 30 attempts in like 8 games. Russell Wilson has no help. I like his passing, but the Eagles' pass D is good. I'm not touching that. Jaylen Warren, I don't like. Kenneth Gainwell, I don't like. Najee Harris, I don't like. Saquon is 99.5 is too rich. AJ Brown, I don't trust at all right now. Devonta Smith, I don't trust in this game. I really, that's about it. That's all I like is Freiermuth and maybe Mike Williams.
Wow, you're a fucking buzzkill. All right, I'm gonna say AJ. I love Saquon Barkley for an anytime touchdown. For looking at the last 4 weeks, the only team that's given up more rushing touchdowns on the ground, or as many rushing touchdowns on the ground, has been the San Francisco 49ers. Historically, 2 incredible defenses, but the last month they've been giving up a lot of production on the ground. Obviously, the 49ers wrote the ship. They rated the ship. The ship was righted. The ship is going right.
I mean, why do you like AJ Brown so much? I need to hear. I need to know.
Listen, I was
22,
super invested in him in basketball, and that's it.
Okay. Hold it for the best ball numbers. All right.
I also have him going against you in my dynasty league. So
I mean, this matchup is terrible across the board everywhere.
I wouldn't say it's terrible across the board everywhere, but I will say this: Grand Caltera, 2.5 receptions. Also love that prop. He's hit over 3 to 4 receptions every time he's gotten the start. If we're looking at what Pittsburgh gives up last 2 weeks, they've given up 19.75 fantasy points to tight ends. Yes, David Njoku was in there, but they've given up 19 receptions. Last month, they've averaged 16.95 tight end points on average. You're looking at anywhere between 11 receptions per game on the last month. 2.5 is a low-hanging fruit. So that means that there's a little bit of volatility there. As for Mike Williams, I would say, yes, the prop
is criminal.
The prop is very low, but like they have Cooper DeJean more than likely covering this guy, right? Cooper DeJean, guys, like not to get racial here, but he's a white cornerback. He's a white. You don't see white cornerbacks. You don't. He's the other white cornerback in the league. He plays for Denver and he gets fucking cooked on a frequent basis. That Cooper DeJean is not just invited to the cookout. Cooper DeJean is hosting the fucking cookout. This guy is playing incredible football, and he's going to shut down Mike Williams. I don't like that prop. I love Saquon Barkley for an anytime touchdown. Jalen Hurts, I like his passing yards. I will take Saquon Barkley over his rushing yards. I think we see 2 or 3 rushing touchdowns from Saquon Barkley. He's my RB2 on the week. I like the 2.5. This game is going to be a blowout, though. Like, realistically speaking,
I think Eagles run him out the building.
We're going to see Russell Wilson really fucking struggle. If there's anything that I'm willing to bet on here, I'm 100% willing to bet on over Saquon Barkley's rushing yards, and that's it. I think your Firemouth assessment's been absolutely spectacular and bang on, but like you got to realize that like just because the numbers are there doesn't mean that like.
Well, look what he's done.
He's their only viable guy. Like, is there a Calvin Austin prop? Because I'd be 13.5 longest reception for Calvin Austin. I'd be more inclined to take that over Pat Firemouth because the Eagles are very good at scouting and very good at defense. So if you're going to self scout and be like, okay, well. This is where we've been weak. This is where they've been strong. This is where all the targets are going. We're going to put somebody significant there. So yeah, I mean, like it's super plausible, super doable.
Okay, so hang on.
19.5 longest reception for Devonta Smith, also there.
Pat Firemouth or Dalton Kincaid?
Muth.
Pat Firemouth. That's the decision I'm in one league. Hard.
Yeah. I mean, like
the Buffalo staring at it.
Dalton Kincaid, sure, they got the game total there that's benefiting them. But other than that, like realistically speaking, until I see Dalton Kincaid do anything,
I know
I'm not playing him. Like, yes, he could go off in the high total game, but like it's one of those things where, like I said about Isaac Garendo on Thursday, like true game time decision. Obviously, Kincaid's playing. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Sleez, stop yawning, man. It's earlier there than it is here. What's wrong with you? Lock in. All right. Tampa. So we both agree Pittsburgh's going to get fucking killed.
I do. Yeah.
I think 5 points.
That leads to more passing from Mike Williams. Pat Firemouth playing from behind.
Pittsburgh but then we've seen Russell Wilson be really good this year. Eventually, the wheels got to fall off. So I think we're going to see him really bad.
Oh, I agree.
I will say the one advantageous spot that he does have against this defense is the rushing upside. So I would even sprinkle in Justin Fields rushing yards if it was available somewhere. I wouldn't be shocked if we see Justin Fields take over this game.
Ooh, that's dangerous. I like it. It. They've been using it more.
I like living on the edge. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 3-point dogs coming into the Los Angeles Chargers Stadium. SoFi, over under is 45.5. And yes, on Thursday, I bet with Flip. I almost called him Flip. With Rip, that the Chargers are not going to make the playoffs simply because I think that J.K. Dobbins is really missed. Gus Edwards really sucks. Greg Roman and Harbaugh are very stubborn about not playing Kamani Vidal. And Justin Herbert looks like he's very hurt. Like he's nursing another bad ankle. I have Tampa Bay winning this game. And I have Baker Mayfield putting up a heck of a lot of yards. I like Rachaad White a heck of a lot. I like the longest reception for Mike Evans. I also like Jalen McMillan in this. And not really high on Kate Otten. And you got to play Stone Smart. Stone Smart is going to be a smash. 28.5 receiving yards is free money for Stone Smart.
You really trust Stone Smart? I know the matchup is absolutely great, but this guy's
look at who I'm playing at tight end against you in the disco ball fantasy, and you tell me if I really trust Stone Smart.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
So I mean, the matchup is amazing.
Flip it. Okay, cool.
I mean,
yeah,
it's there. I mean, all the matchups there. I just don't trust.
He's a good athlete. He looked good when he looked better than Disley. I think the only reason why he hasn't gotten on the field is because he's not as good of a blocker as Disley, but he's
too skinny for his frame.
He's a good route runner and he's good after the catch. And that's all I need from you for your receptions. Because I don't care if you're a good blocker in fantasy football. I care if you can catch the fucking football. And like Greg Roman, they're clearly not playing the better players simply because they're stubborn in their ways. They have no choice but to play Stone Smart now. And I'm bullish on Stone Smart. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he doesn't do anything against me.
Well, he's going to fuck you up, man.
I would say. Go ahead. You done?
Sorry. Bone says Jaden Daniels over Joker though. Who the fuck is Joker?
I'm thinking of Jokic.
Nikola Jokic?
Jokic.
Who's the Joker?
Kyler. I think he put Kyler below it. Kyler.
So you like Henry over Ertz and Otten this week? Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels over Kyler. Jaden Daniels is QB1 for me this week.
I'm at 2.
Yeah, I have Allen at 2.
And I have Allen at 1.
I have Hurts at 3, Lamar at 4 out of respect, even though I think he gets game scripted out of the top 10. Really? Yeah, I have I want Hurts to go higher. I really do have him higher than that, like in my heart. At least I'm not the only one liking Stone Smart this week. I love him. Shout out to PBJ. PBJ, you can never go wrong with PBJ, is all I'm saying. All right, what do you like about this game, bro?
Justin Herbert's passing sticks out a ton in this game. I mean, the Tampa Bay, they're very awful versus the pass all season long, past 4 weeks. Doesn't matter what it is.
It's a great call.
If Bucky is out, the Chargers got healthy on defense. Their line is nasty. I don't really like Rashad's rushing. I would probably take the under if Bucky's in there. So, like, right now, it'd be like your sneak play, right? So, if Bucky's in there, there's no way Rashad White is getting 50 rushing yards. So I do like that. Bucky did practice Friday. Looks like he might be out there. I would really like Rashad White's receiving yards, but it's not here. Ladd McConkey, 72.5, kind of rich. I'd like Mike Evans, 68.5. I think he's going to have a big game. The Chargers have been very bad over the past 4 weeks versus the wide receiver for yards. But again, they're getting healthy now, so it's kind of scary, either way you look at it. K-Dot, and I don't like in this matchup at all. I mean, Cameron Dicker is enticing, and Tampa Bay, could be a kicker.
Dicker the kicker.
And I mean, you want to take the rushing yards for Gus and Kamani, but do you trust it in the system? It's very low. It's super low, actually, like 37, 28. Are they going to put Kamani Vidal out there? Are we going to see more of him? But Tampa has been good versus the run the past 4 weeks, but they also, haven't really played a great running back schedule. So
well, like they've been 6th against running backs, like the 6th best defense against running backs all year. So I think that's just consistent play. Where running backs do kill them is in receptions. They give up the most receptions and receiving yards. I'd be inclined to take Kamani Vidal's receptions and receiving yards props, but I'm not touching anything until we
don't have any. It's all rushing.
Well, I mean, like we also are still waiting for Ladd McConkey news, so I'm not touching anything until we get Ladd McConkey news because of Ladd McConkey.
He's in.
Well, he's in. Is he 100%?
Yeah, he's practiced 2 days straight. They have his props everywhere.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, like they had Pickens props everywhere, and then he was a late scratch last week.
This is too big of a game. Chargers season's on the line. Buck season's on the line. They're playing. I think Bucky and Ladd are both out there. Lock it in right now, and I don't know.
Yeah. You could be right. I wonder what the Fantasy Pros tool says. Can't control life. What up, Billy? Good to see you, buddy. He says, "Go Sens, go Sleez." Do you know who the Sens are?
Say it again. I'm looking up. What is it? Fantasy Pros start sit.
No, it's Fantasy Pros
injury
tool. Do you know who the Sens are? The Senators.
Is it a band?
No, it's our fucking local hockey team. I'm a Rolling Stone out in every league. I caught Cups egg in.
I could have known by looking at his thing on YouTube, though. I would have said hockey with the logo.
Yeah, that's our hockey team. It's not a good one. We're not good at all. Are we good this year? It shows how much fucking hockey I follow. Some Canadian I am, right? All right. I mean, I do curse. Last game. We'll talk about the Monday Night Football games on your show tomorrow, but last game we got Sunday Night Football. We got the Green Bay Packers, who are only 2.5-point favorites against the Seattle Seahawks. Over under is 46.0. One prop I absolutely love is Zach Charbonnet over 4.5 receptions is crazy. That's ridiculous. We need to cool it a little bit. Okay, don't like that. 4.5 is a little high, but no team has given up more receptions to opposing running backs in the last 2 weeks. And like by a fucking landslide than the Green Bay Packers. Okay. So if we're looking at receptions the last 2 weeks, Green Bay has given up 23 receptions. That's well over almost 12 receptions per game. Right. Next up is Cincinnati at 16. Last 4 weeks, Green Bay's given up 31.
Pause for a second. What's the Fantasy Pros thing? I cannot find it. Is it injuries? Fantasy Pros? Who do I start?
Injury predictor.
Injury predictor. Okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Fantasy articles.
Oh, fantasy. Okay, just talk about this game. I'll find it.
All right. Last game here at the very bottom. Let's go back down. I couldn't find it, man. It kept showing me different stuff there. Dude, are we going Sunday Night Football here? Packers or
Yep.
Packers? Oh man. So, I mean, Charbonnet has just been a monster. I think the 61 yards is absolutely doable. I don't care just because he's seen so many touches. It could be the number one defense they're playing against. He looks great. I was absolutely wrong last week. And DK Metcalf, this is what, if like you said, if Jay Season is the one, this is what the Green Bay, they've been giving up a ton of passing yards and they struggle versus the two. He could be due for a monster game, but do I really trust him? Not a lot, because he hasn't really been DK Metcalf since the injury, and he's still nagging with the injury. But I'm going to go outside the box here, and Jaden Reed is going to smash 42.5 receiving yards because Romeo Doubs is back. And when you look, when Romeo Doubs is out there, Jaden Reed absolutely destroyed fantasy football. He was the number 4 wide receiver to start the season with Romeo Doubs out there. And since Doubs has been out, he's terrible. So
all right,
really
so
up the deep game for them.
So Ladd McConkey's 60% chance of playing with my mid dip in performance expected.
Right. I think he's out there. I mean, they got to be out there. But what's Bucky at?
Bucky status data projects a 60% chance he'll sit out, leaning towards a week 16 return. If active, expect a significant reduction in touches.
Okay. And then the other advantageous matchup here is Tucker Kraft. I mean, Tucker Kraft has a beautiful matchup here versus Seattle. This could be, and I always said that he's, kind of touchdown dependent, but Seattle's given up a ton of receptions to the tight end recently, a ton of targets, a ton of yards all around there. I think they're top 10 and or bottom 10 in every single category. Tucker Kraft has a great matchup. I would take his yards, receptions. I don't really like his longest, but damn, he looks like an athlete, man. He looks like a really good dynasty tight end to own here the rest of the way. Christian Watson, I'm always interested in his longest just because he's Christian Watson. I mean, if I'm looking at yards, I don't know how I feel about Josh Jacobs in this game, but he's been freaking destroying fantasy football, man. It's hard not to bet and say that he can beat them all because he's doing it against everybody. So I like all of his props, obviously, just because it's Josh Jacobs, but it's not a great matchup. What do you like from the game?
DK Metcalf and Jaden Reed bounce back game over on every fucking statistical category. Both of them find the end zone. Charbonnet is a smash start. Even if Kenneth Walker's healthy, Charbonnet has earned the trust, respect, and admiration of that entire offense.
Kenneth's out, by the way.
Kenneth is out? Okay, there you go. The decision's made. I like Josh Jacobs, any of his props, super doable except for the longest rush. It's also super doable, but I don't love it. I love Jordan Love over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I also like Josh Jacobs for an anytime touchdown. I love Geno Smith to throw an interception. Yes, I know Jerry's not out there, but no team has taken the ball away better from other quarterbacks than the Green Bay Packers defense, especially if we're talking about like the last 7 to 8 weeks. Jaden Reed, all of his props, absolutely love it. Tucker,
I think he's gonna pop right after the 0. He's just gonna go nuking.
I cannot love both Jaden Reed and Tucker Kraft, unfortunately. So I'm going to bet on one, even though your assessment's bang on. Christian
they've
Watson,
been giving targets galore to the tight end.
Well, here's the good thing about Tucker Kraft, right? His check down ability / run after catch ability is super fucking spectacular.
Dude, I didn't know how much of an athlete he is.
You saw him.
Nasty,
you saw him do that little taekwondo.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? We got what?
Yeah, well, for what it's worth, the tight end position is one of the most athletic positions on the field.
I haven't seen this guy flip up at 6'5" like that in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, last guy I saw do that was Dwayne the Rock Johnson. All right, I'm going to queue up for one of these drafters best ball playoff best ball drafts right now. I'm queued up. It's 1 out of 6. I'm going to do one of these drafts. I know you might have to go.
Family here right now. They just came in the door.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hang out and I'm going to do this, and we're going to give away an entry, guys, an opportunity for you guys to win our giveaway, which is $300,000 in total prizes, $50,000 to first. We're giving it away tonight. All you got to do is put #Sleez Shout out to my co-host with the most, and I'm very proud of you, man. Hashtag Sleez, like this, in the chat to enter our giveaway, and we'll do a duck race at the end. Sleez, let the folks know who you are, where you're from, what you'll do, as long as you fucking love me. Great show, buddy. You really brought your fucking A game today. I really enjoyed today.
Sleazeball, my mind is a weapon fantasy football show. Always excited to be here. Always amped up. I can't believe the playoffs here. I can't believe the season flew by this fast, man. It feels like
It's
it just
insane.
started yesterday.
I already have football withdrawals. It's fucking
absolutely amazing from start to finish of the season with you. Can't thank you enough for being a co-host and co-host on both shows, man. Can't wait to meet you in person at the probably Expo next year. It'll be amazing. Chat, make sure you smash the likes, make sure you smash the subs. My mom and my wife's mom and her husband just rolled in. We are about to cook up a dinner here, so I gotta head out. But peace out, guys. And tomorrow morning will be 10:30 Eastern my time. If you want to do that early or you want to do 11, it's fine for me either way.
all right. Sounds good, man.
So I'll shoot you a text. All right, guys. I'll keep you guys up. Peace out. I'm about to grub out. I'm so hungry. It's ridiculous.
Did the weather get better there at least?
It did.
Okay, good.
We're having
all right, buddy. Enjoy your evening. See you tomorrow.
Peace out, guys.
And then there was just one. All right, guys, get your fantasy football questions in. I gotta fix this. I just look like a hanging head right now. Edit. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Appreciate you guys for rocking with us. We are going to do one of these drafts, and we're going to stay on as long as it takes to get one of these drafts filled. We're going to give away one of you beautiful folks one of these tickets. Shout out to drafters, shout out to Sleazeball, shout out to all of you beautiful folks. In the meantime, I could also queue up for our Sunday splash. Yeah. Mossy's entered the giveaway. Let's go. Noah Seekinger's entered the giveaway. Bones has entered the giveaway. Seba Supreme has entered the giveaway. That's about it. Bone says, I'm stoked. I sat Garendo, so I could hopefully play sharp. I did advise to sit Garendo for what it's worth. Even though he had 11 fantasy points, so not a bad outing. The goats, good to see you, Noah. Sup guys, sup buddy. Can't trust any Packers. There's always going to be only playable catcher and 3 cones. Good luck picking one week to week. I do like Jaden Reed because there is a vacancy in terms of Seattle Seahawks allow production to the slot, and that's the void there. So I'm high on him. I'm high on him to bounce back. Peanut Butter Jelly says, tight end is my conundrum this week. Kraft, Henry, Smart, and Ertz are all options. Kraft probably has the highest ceiling, safest floor. Henry has an excellent matchup. Smart, I like, but very small sample size. Ertz is in a decent matchup. I think you got to play your studs at this point, and Kraft has been a stud all week or all year, so you got to go Tucker Kraft. Would you happen to have a favorite kicker this week? Could use the points since Cup dropped a donut. Younghoe Koo. Any team playing against Las Vegas is going to be absolutely spectacular. Harrison Butker's back as well. Game's going to be really, really rainy and really, really gross. So yeah. Disco. Sorry I'm late. Did you do a drafters tonight? I just queued up right now. It's at 4 out of 6. And we're going to do the giveaway right after. But we literally went over every single slate, top to bottom, or every game on the Sunday slate, top to bottom. Talks about our favorite props, our favorite pick'ems. We do this every Saturday, Mossy. Thank you for joining us. And our $20 drafters playoff is filled and ready to go. I got to fix this. And we're okay with the layout, folks. And once again, to enter the giveaway, guys, a chance to win $50,000 USD and anywhere between $0 to $300,000 in total prizes. Make sure you guys put hashtag Sleez because he's the co-host with the most, and I'm very proud of him and how far he's come. Yo, Disco, need a 5-man slip of props you love for tomorrow. Say less. We'll build one after this. I got you. Disco hates kickers. I fucking despise kickers. But if I'm if you're going to ask me fantasy advice for kickers, I'm going to play the fantasy advice game. All right, Mossy94 at the 102. Shout out to our incredible community. We got Carl Ramrod. I don't even think he knows that we're live right now, but shout out to Carl Ramrod, one of my favorite humans, one of the first members of Disco Ball Nation. He's over at the 104. Yours truly at the 106 yet again. So, guys, we're changing our entire gears. We're not focusing on Week 15 or fantasy playoffs. We're focusing on the actual NFL playoffs, right? So, what you want to do here is you want to build a team that you think is going to win a heck of a lot of money and get a lot of fantasy production. So, the way we're building this team is you need one quarterback. You start 6 players, but there's 12 rounds. One quarterback, one running back, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex, and most importantly, and it's best ball format. So you literally just draft and forget it unless you're winning a life-changing amount of money. All right. So you want to draft teams, and here's the strategy. You want to draft teams you think are going to go play in the Super Bowl from either division, right? So you want to stagger players. Like if you're only starting one quarterback, you want to get you want to get one. Sleez says they brought pasta Milano fire. What the fuck is pasta Milano? Is that a California thing, or am I just out of the know? I seem so stupid when it comes to the culture there. So yeah, my Super Bowl prediction. And last time I said I like Tucker Kraft, I got sniped from Colorado. Google it, says the guy. I'll Google it after the show. We still got a show. Enjoy. Bon appetito, motherfucker. This guy leaving me high and dry, going to eat pasta while my wife's cooking up a storm, and I'm doing this beautiful draft. Saquon Barkley goes to Mossy. Josh Allen gone at the 101. Shocker. So my Super Bowl prediction is Green Bay wins against the Buffalo Bills. So I cannot get Josh Allen because Josh Allen's now gone. You kind of want to stagger the teams that you predict to have a first-round bye. So as of now, Detroit has a first-round bye, and so does Kansas City. You want to stagger them. You don't want to stack them up, even though those teams have the highest odds to make it to the Super Bowl. You want to be very diligent and bullish on your guys. You want to get your guys, but you also want to be smart about how you proceed. Just looking at what's available here. So only guy available currently from my Super Bowl prediction list is James Cook based off of ADP. So I wouldn't mind staggering like a Derrick Henry and a Derrick Henry's gone. All right, so we'll go with one from each division. So we'll go here. AJ Brown here because I feel like Philly has the ability to go to the NFC Championship. So that's at least 3 games. I don't think they're going to finish first unless Detroit absolutely blows down the stretch. And once again, guys, hashtag Sleez to enter the giveaway. We're going to do a duck race at the end of the show, so I probably should set that up. And babe, whenever you have a chance, can you send me the list? There's the duck race. If you guys don't know a duck race, community loves it. It's a heck of a lot of fun. Ducks are all over the thumbnail because we like to give back to our community, give them opportunities to win a ridiculous amount of money simply by drafting a fantasy football team. Gotta pull up the email here. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thank you guys for rocking with me. I've done more shows this week than I've done since the season's kicked off. Before the season, all we did was basketball stuff. So we were live like Monday to Sunday. So it's fun to be back and streaming and hanging out with you guys. You guys are absolutely incredible, man. All right, so we only got 4 guys who entered the giveaway. Perfect. And then after we're done our draft, we'll do our duck race. Only 4 people. 69 seconds still. You guys know the drill. We're coming up next. So Josh Jacobs is available for my Super Bowl prediction, and so is Amari Cooper. We'll go Josh Jacobs and Amari Cooper. I like that. I like that a lot. So you want to avoid the teams you think are going to be one and done. I think Detroit has a lot of potential, but once again, the first round bye is very concerning. I think Pittsburgh's a one and done. I think Houston's a one and done. I know Minnesota's a one and done. Minnesota's not winning a playoff game this year. I think Washington could potentially win in the first round, but they also have one and done potential. I don't think the Chargers make the playoffs. I don't know if Arizona will make the playoffs. I know there's still a chance that Cincinnati can make the playoffs, but it's only like 2%. But there's guys like Puka Nacua, right, who hardly get drafted in these drafts simply because right now, on paper, that team is not in the mix to make the playoffs. And I think the Los Angeles Rams down the stretch should be the absolute favorites there. So Kyron Williams, I even think Miami can make the playoffs. So that's the benefit of drafting these lineups early, because there's a lot of teams with a lot of players who, are in the playoffs now, but are not going to make the playoffs in the big picture. You want to get guys you think are going to make the playoffs down the stretch. The likelihood of the Rams making the playoffs just goes higher on a weekly basis. And I think I think the Seahawks are a good football team, but they're not a great one. And I think the Rams is a better football team with a better coach right now. So that's what I'm running with. So we're sticking to our Green Bay to the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl theme here. We just took Jordan Love and Jaden Reed. So currently we have Jordan Love, James Cook, Josh Jacobs, A.J. Brown, Amari Cooper, Jaden Reed. We only need one quarterback. We only need one running back. If I'm correct, my one quarterback is going to be in the Super Bowl, and he's going to play all of the games. So this is plus. I have both running backs that I think are going to be in the Super Bowl. So this is absolutely plus. I got two wide receivers who are going to be in the Super Bowl. I only need to play two wide receivers. So I need to leave here with Tucker Kraft. But last time I said I really wanted Tucker Kraft in a draft, Carl Ramrod sniped him in round 20. And Tucker Kraft would actually have made a significant difference for me in that lineup. Rams definitely have the momentum in the West for sure. And people are still not drafting those guys, which is absolutely criminal. So we got our Super Bowl prediction, guys, here. Hopefully we can get Tucker Kraft on the way back. But I don't think Kyle Ramrod's going to allow it because he's just a snipe show, bro. And it's okay. I love him for it. He's a good person, deep down. Tucker Kraft is at the top here. Puka just went to Carl Ramrod, so he's definitely listening. Shout out to you, Carl Ramrod. And then as we get down to as we make our last two picks here before the draft closes out, we'll just swap on over to the duck race. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I have fun. I enjoyed it. And yeah, I highly recommend you guys get in here because there's not a lot of teams. The payout's absolutely significant. It's a really, really sick payout. Tucker Kraft still available. Let's go. If I can get Tucker Kraft and Isaiah Likely, I'll be done at tight end. And I don't think I need another quarterback. Okay, Tucker Kraft, Isaiah Likely. We're done at tight end. I'm not going with another quarterback. So we're just going to stack up on skill positions now with teams that I think are going to make the playoffs. When even if these guys are one and done, we could still stagger some performances. Brian Robinson, Bijan Robinson. Ray Davis might be a sneaky pick. I can't take. Yeah. In this world that we're creating, Tampa Bay doesn't make the playoffs. Who do you guys think wins the South? Who wins the NFC South? Is it going to be Tampa? Is it going to be Atlanta? Does New Orleans go on a streak, and does the rest of the division lose out? I mean, Carolina statistically doesn't have a chance. I think they're mathematically eliminated at this point. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. But man, we brought it today. We gave you guys some spectacular picks. Can't wait to build a pick'em with you guys at the end of this too. I'll just build the pick'ems with you guys tomorrow morning. Now we'll build a pick. We'll build a fucking pick'em with our favorite picks tonight. We're not leaving. Hey babe, what's for dinner? I'm starving. Shout out to you guys for tuning in and supporting the kid. Really do appreciate it. I thought we were live on X today. Apparently, I did not click live on X, so that's fine. All right. Kyron Williams just went, so we're going to take Cup and Bijan Robinson. Christian Watson's gone. Shameful. Oops. Didn't want to. We're going to queue Drake London back up. We're going to slide him up to the top of the queue here. And then we got him and Romeo Dobbs as our last two picks. We'll set up the auto here because we're okay with all of these players. Maybe just slide. Oh, Dobbs is gone. Curtis Samuel might be a sneaky tertiary play here. Go Curtis Samuel and Justice Hill because I like both of these teams to go deep in the playoffs. All right, we got it on auto. We got our queue. Let's go back to here. Let's build a pick'em. All right. So this game here between, I don't want to bet on that game. If I remember correctly, I loved the rushing for Tony Pollard. I love Jamar Chase every week, but the props are way too rich. I do love him every week, though. Bryce Young, I like the over pretty much everywhere, but I cannot stack his stuff with other people. So we're going to go over 15.5 receiving yards for Chuba, over 80.5 rushing yards for over 21.5 longest reception also seems free here. I'm not betting on the Chiefs game because the weather's shit and there's just too much volatility there. I love Joe Mixon's receiving yards at 21.5. It's a very advantageous matchup. Actually, I'm going to take the longest. I like over 21.5 longest reception for Jalen Waddle. I like over 3.5 receptions for Tank Dell. Terry McLaurin at 25.5 longest receptions, a little too high for my blood, but I still like it a lot. And then over 3.5 receptions for Amari Cooper. We're going to put $10 on that. We're going to safety it. All right, here's the card. Tank Dell over 3.5 receptions. Joe Mixon over 12.5 longest reception. Amari Cooper over 3.5 receptions. Tony Pollard over 66.5 rushing yards. Chuba over 15.5 receiving yards. Rico Dowdle over 80.5 rushing yards. CeeDee Lamb over 21.5 longest reception. Jalen Waddle over 21.5 longest reception. You guys can tail. Remember, you can tail at your own risk. I'm not liable for any losses. If you do have gambling problems, seek help. That is it for us, folks. Oh, shit. It's not it. We still got a fucking duck race. You guys are hanging out here. I almost just bailed on you guys. Here's duck race. All right, give me 5 quacks in the chat, guys, and we'll do the duck race. 5 quacks. Who's still awake with me? Mossy with the quack. Mother quacker. Guys, I want to release the quacking, but you guys got to work with me. Bones. It said ducks, but I'll take that as a quack. 3 quacks. 2 more quacks, guys. Fuck it. Let's go, and we're off. Thank you guys for rocking with me today, man. Really enjoyed the show. Mossy, Noah, Bones, Seabass, Supreme. And once again, guys, if you guys win, contact me on X or any socials whatsoever. Streaming. Mossy says streaming tomorrow. Yes, we're streaming tomorrow, but we'll be over on Sleazeball's channel at, I want to say, 10:30 or 11 a.m. Eastern time. I'll be very active on X in the morning, though. I might stream in the morning, honestly, before I go live with Sleaze, because I'm up every morning at like 5, 6 a.m., especially on game day mornings. I can't, like, I have a saying where it's like you treat every day like game day, but there's no day like game day. So I might stream tomorrow morning. We'll see. But if I do, I'll let you know in the Discord, all right, buddy? Happy holidays, friends. All right, Noah Seekinger making the big push here. Noah! Congratulations, Noah. W Noah in the chat. Noah, are you there, buddy? Noah, are you there? Noah, please contact me on Twitter. If you're not claiming your ticket by tonight, I will reshuffle it. For what it's worth, I've reshuffled the tickets 4 times now. Nobody's claimed a single ticket. But W Noah, congratulations. Please contact me on X. I want to give you this ticket. I want you to draft the winning lineup. There's nothing I want more than this community to win, and I want to help as much as I possibly can. You guys are all brilliant. I respect you guys. I love you guys. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for making this fantasy football content creator dream come true. I'll continue to provide the work. Thank you guys for your support. God bless you. And see you guys for game day tomorrow over on Sleazeball channel. Peace.